It's time for Twit This Week in Tech. Yes, I'm in beautiful Hawaii, but the show must go on. Micah Sargent, Nicholas De Leon, and Devendra Hardawar join me. We will talk about earnings palooza, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Apple, and a few others. Basically, they all made tons of money. Elon Musk takes the stand and maybe makes a few bloopers in his testimony, and the most severe Linux security flaw in decades. All of that coming up next on Twit.
Podcasts you love
from people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twit, This Week in Tech, episode 1082, recorded Sunday, May 3rd, 2026, hanging by a thread. It's time for Twit, This Week in Tech, the show we cover the week's tech news. Hello, everybody from beautiful Hawaii. We have a great panel. I'm going to sweat all through this show. That's Micah Sargent laughing at me. Hey,
I'm
Micah.
laughing. It's record temps here in Portland, but that only means 80 degrees. So
It's as hot in Portland as it is in the Big Island. So there, you should be happy. Wow. Do you have AC?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I will never live anywhere without AC. Throw me into an early grave rather than live in a place without AC is how I feel.
And I've been watching on iOS today. You have added a massive 3D printer over your left shoulder. Which one is that?
That's actually just the P1S. No longer, but it's got
state of the art.
It's got the AMS on top of it. That's probably what you're seeing. So that holds 4 different types of filament at once, and it can mix between them. And
that's nice. Yeah. Do you do a lot of 3D printing?
I don't do a whole heck of a lot, but what I do is when something pops up that I need, something's not working and I need to fix it, or I have a little break or a product that I wish it had this handle on it. I like to design little things and print them out and use them around the house. So that's what I do most of the time.
So good to see you, Micah Sargent, of course, the host of Tech News Weekly and iOS Today. And
we just had our 800th episode over on iOS Today.
You're catching up somehow.
Congrats. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
That's Devendra Hardawar from Engadget, senior editor. Hey, Devendra, great to see you.
Good to see you. I did not realize I'd be instantly jealous of where you are, Leo. This is the background.
This is my whole goal.
It's beautiful.
My whole goal is to make you just insanely jealous. Yeah, it's not a usable beach because we're on the Big Island, which 200 years ago had a massive volcanic eruption on this side, and everything's lava, black lava rock. There are some nice beaches, coral sand beaches, but this one is not. What you see really behind me,
the beauty of
you see the ocean and you see a golf course. There's a ridiculous number of golf courses here. And every time I see them, I think, and they thought data centers used a lot of water. They're watering golf courses in Hawaii. I guess we're on the dry side, but still. Also with us, Nicholas De Leon from Consumer Reports. Hi, Nicholas.
Hello, Leo. How are you?
Speaking of dry, he's in Arizona. It's nice and dry, except when it rains.
Monsoon season starts in about a month or so, but for the time being, it is very dry. Although a little cloudy today, I would say it's only 85 degrees, which is probably like 10 degrees below normal, actually.
And Devender's in Atlanta, where it probably is already in the 80s as well.
No,
right?
it's actually been chilly for a couple of days. It barely hit 70 today, so I'm jealous of hearing all this 80-degree weather.
Well, what was hot this week was earnings, learnings. It was an earnings palooza. Wednesday, we had Alphabet, Meta, Microsoft, and am I leaving one out? Apple was the Thursday. Mm-hmm. Just a bunch of big tech earnings. They all did fairly well, although the market punished Meta considerably because Meta is spending so much money on AI. Losing money on AI. This is from Semaphore. Big tech firms beat earnings amid AI spending questions. Alphabet. Oh, I left out Amazon. That was the other one. Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft all beat the earnings expectations. So the market rewarded them. Meta's stock fell after it announced plans to put in even more money towards AI. So there's the market performance. Looks like Alphabet's done very well. You know, there was
in Zuckerberg they trust, right? Like his bets have not gone wrong in the past decade.
Well, really?
I'm being
let's see.
here, but all his bets have failed.
He changed the name
massively.
to Meta because he really thought the metaverse was going to take off, but now they've closed Horizon World, so it's too late to change the name again. Probably
it should have been if you were going to do it. Could change it to Meta AI because he knew AI was going to be a big thing back then.
Matai. The real winners, I think, to some degree, are Microsoft and Amazon and Google because they all three provide the data centers for AI.
Exactly. Yep.
Which everyone knows, no matter how AI goes, it's going to use a lot of compute. Then Apple, who has neither AI nor data centers.
Did well somehow, yeah.
They have real tech. They have real technology. It's amazing.
This thing called the iPhone seems to be doing quite well.
Products you can hold in your hands.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Tim, this is not Tim Cook's last earnings report. He'll have one more before John Turnus takes over in September. But Tim did crow a little bit about having today Apple is proud to report our best March quarter ever. Revenue of $111 billion and double-digit growth in every geographic segment. Services continued to do incredibly well. $28 billion in operating cash flow. I mean, everything good for Apple. Does Apple benefit because they didn't do AI? Maybe this is...
I've mentioned this before. I think everyone was like, Apple is late to AI. They're going to lose out big time. And I feel like that initial year when Bing Chat happened, and then Microsoft's whole deal with OpenAI, everyone eyes were on Apple. Like you were stumbling, you were failing, and now I think Microsoft is pulling back on Copilot stuff. All these companies are kind of taking a second look at their AI investments. Apple can just sit tight and be slow about it, and I think be more thoughtful about it. I think that's going to work out well for them, as we've seen.
It's going to come.
It doesn't feel though like I'm sure internally, yes, there's a lot that's taking place. There's a lot of strategy that's happening, but from the outside of things, it looks like that company is just doing its thing. And there's something to that. There's, yes, we've heard about the scramble, but I don't know that translates to your everyday person. We hear the rumors about, the AI team being flushed and having to go do training and whatnot. But from the outside of things, it really does feel like Apple just continues to do Apple while these other companies have said, okay, we've got to really focus on this. We've got to focus on AI. And so there is almost a steadfastness to it that I have to respect that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable perhaps with Apple still able to, because we're looking now at a company that is still able to set those records despite the fact that we've heard time and time again from everybody else going, Apple needs to be an AI. They are so far behind.
Yep.
And it doesn't seem like that's the case.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out. I mean, I think we're about a month away from WWDC, and that's where they'll probably talk about Siri and the AI-enabled Siri. John Turnus joined the call. He's going to be the next CEO starting September 1st. So there was some betting on Tuesday on MacBreak Weekly. Will Turnus show up, or will Tim Cook get to shine one penultimate time? But I think they wanted to introduce John Turnus. They also talked about shortages because Apple's hit hard by the supply chain shortages of chips, of RAM, even of hard drives. And I think they've discontinued their cheapest Mac Mini and raised the prices on the rest. And if you wanted a Mac Mini or a Mac Studio, you might be hard pressed to get one. Some of them are actually unavailable. And this is due to AI. So in some ways, they are benefiting from AI because everybody's buying these for their OpenClaw.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, I was trying to buy a Mac Mini or Mac Studio, anything. And the shipping date was, like, depending on the RAM configuration, was months in the future. And I was like, I've never seen that before. So yeah, like Apple is, I guess, benefiting tangentially from AI, even if they're not necessarily directly, shipping models or anything like that. By
discontinuing the $600 model, Apple's basically made those cheapest model of the Mini an $800 model. And of course, a lot of people doing OpenClaw were buying the cheapest Mac Mini. I mean, that was the recommendation because you're still running an AI in the cloud. You don't need a super fast machine to run it. In fact, I don't even know if you need a Mac Mini, to be honest. You probably could use a Raspberry Pi.
Wasn't it doing some stuff locally? Like I think the Mac Mini had enough local juice if you needed to do something. So that was.
I have a Mini with 64 gigs, and I can run some models that are tuned for MLX, Apple's own ML implementation on Apple Silicon.
I mean, it speaks to like what an amazing machine the $599 Mac Mini was. Like, that was Apple's cheapest desktop, but also more computer than most people needed for really anything. And it's like so small, so capable. Like, of course, this ends up being the thing. I think it's the downside though is that it was a beautiful machine for $599, and now it is no more because of AI, like so many things. So now it's $799. That thing used to go on sale for below $500. Even like an M1 or M2 Mac Mini at $300 or $400. Like you could do so much with that thing.
I guess you could buy a Neo, right? That's
you could buy a Neo, which is again another. I don't know how long they're going to be able to hold on to.
8 gigs of RAM isn't exactly
no. You need the RAM. You need the RAM if you want these models to sit in your to sit and run. You need a lot of RAM. Unfortunately, that Neo though, what a machine! I have so many thoughts about that.
Did they talk about Neo sales? I didn't listen to the call. Are they?
I didn't care.
I think they're probably taking a victory lap on the Neo. And by the way. That was also John Turnus was in charge of hardware. that was one of John Turnus's projects. So
I don't know if you guys talked about this. I was at the Neo launch event, and like it was all Turnus. There was no Tim.
Oh, interesting.
There. John Turnus introed like the press to the whole thing. He was the one doing the like play-by-play of all the features of the Neo. He was the one like everybody, even the Apple like people there were all talking about John Turnus's vision for the Neo, and.
Which tells you that they knew he was about to be announced.
Oh, for sure.
Anointed.
For sure. And that was rumored since last fall. But this was very much his baby. And like, look at the MacBook Neo and just like what a thing that is. Like the Apple reps like brought a $600 HP laptop and just put it side by side. I was like, oh my God. HP's already dead. Like you're just let them die here. And they compare like all the features, the screen, the speakers, everything. It's just desperate. And I've talked to like a lot of PC manufacturers now. They're just all like pulling their shirt collars. They don't know what to do because they
can't figure out how to do that, right?
They can't do it's impossible for especially because the full stack. Yeah.
Especially because of supply chain now, Apple buys up ahead of time all the RAM and so forth. So in fact, the RAM for these are part of the die because these are basically systems on a chip. For the iPhone.
Older RAM, most likely too. So probably not the in-demand RAM that people are really scarfing up right now. So
and presumably they already have it all, right?
Yeah.
In fact, I think we were talking about this on MacBreak Weekly. One of the issues they're going to have with the Neo as it sells really rapidly is they're going to run out of these low-end, what is it, A18 chip, and they're going to have to start 18 Pro. They're going to have to start using more modern chips, which, by the way, come with 12 gigs of RAM instead of 8 gigs of RAM. So that'll be good for Neo BIOS, but Apple's going to be up against the supply chain. Cook said that, let's see, here's the quote. We think looking forward, the Mac Mini and the Mac Studio may take several months to reach supply-demand balance. Both of these are amazing platforms for AI and agentic. The Neo is still highly available, I think, so you can still get it. But I have a feeling they're going to run. These are binned parts, I think, right? That they had extras of when they moved off the iPhone 17.
That's the speculation. Like, and the best thing is like, this is leftover hardware, and you can build something from it. But also, it is so funny that Apple's scraps ended up creating like a $600 computer like we've never seen before.
Apple scraps. The Apple scrap computer. The leftovers.
You built in a cave with a box of scraps, basically. It's the MacBook.
Microsoft lifts its 2026 AI spend by $25 billion. And this is just component prices alone. They're going to write checks for $190 billion, their CapEx. In 2026, that is what the market doesn't like to see. Is all of this money spent on AI.
Microsoft users are just benefiting from all this money being spent. All these features coming to Microsoft users are so useful. It's great.
They love them. They love them. They love them so much.
They don't. They hate them.
5 notifications every time you open your machine to tell you how much you love them.
Do you also hate it? I hate it.
They have to come out and say sorry for all the AI.
We overdid it. Overdid it. We're pulling back. And Google's doing the same thing with Gemini and Google.
Yes, and Google
Workspace.
Sheets. And
oh my God. It keeps trying to summarize the Twit rundown. I don't want a summary. I got it exactly. Stop. I don't want that. So Microsoft has spent in the last 4 quarters, roughly, according to the register, $97 billion on infrastructure and equipment. What is the revenue for the $97 billion? $37 billion.
It's like a Hollywood film.
The math doesn't make up for it. Nevertheless,
they're losing some of their exclusivity with OpenAI too.
Yeah, OpenAI pulled the plug on
problem.
That. Yeah. I don't know if that's a problem. I can't figure out if that was Microsoft getting a divorce. Who was getting the divorce?
Yeah.
Microsoft or OpenAI?
OpenAI wants more partners. Like, they want more money coming in. They don't want to be like beholden to Microsoft. But that whole thing was just so wild because Microsoft was just like drunk on power. Like, look at this, what this AI does to Bing. Nobody cares about Bing. And all of a sudden, everyone's paying attention to Bing. Let's put Copilot and everything. It really seemed like a company that had never seen some like this sort of like innovative tech so early, and they're like, we got to put this everywhere. We got to go gung-ho on all of this. And that's part of that desperation that Google hit too, like right after Bing Chat and was it that level of ChatGPT hit. And then that's when everyone's saying Apple's too slow. But now we're a couple of years after that, and I think it seems like it's benefited Apple not to jump headfirst into this.
To put this in perspective, here's a graph from Business Insider on CapEx spending, starting with 2023. Well, when you combine Amazon, Google, Meta, and Microsoft, it was all well under 200 billion. 2024 made 200 billion, then 400 billion. Now we're close to $800 billion in CapEx expenditure. And you know, it's interesting. Meta's spending less than anybody. It's Microsoft, Google, and Amazon that are really spending almost $200 billion each. In 2026. So we were talking before the show began, Devendra, about an AI bubble bursting. Is this the sign of that? That
it's not a good sign. Like none of this is good. And I do think like that's the thing. Like if this AI bubble bursts, it's not just like these companies are going to be hurt or the AI companies. It is the U.S. economy itself, right? Like AI investments itself was a big chunk of GDP growth over the last year. That's going to be a big problem.
Andy Jassy, CEO of Amazon, said, we have high confidence this will be monetized well. In other words, we're going to make money, folks. We already have customer commitments for a substantial portion of it. What that doesn't account for is the customers who are OpenAI, Anthropic. If they collapse, the whole thing, it's dominoes, right? The whole thing collapses. If your customers can't keep paying that money, that's why it's a bubble. And that's why bursting is.
What does it, I would love when we think about the two ways, the bubble bursting or the bubble not bursting, right? What does it mean for the bubble to burst? Does it mean that, I understand obviously from a financial perspective, but what I'm curious to hear is, Devendra, your, the crystal ball of the bubble bursts. That means that AI gets sued to pieces by copyright holders, and that's what takes it under, or because we know that it has a base level of helpfulness that we have seen people talk about and use and pay for. So what is it? What would cause it to burst? What is involved with it bursting? I'm just curious, like, what does that look like?
I mean, I think the best example we have right now is what happened to Sora. What did happen to Sora? Overnight, this thing that was a success and everyone was saying would rewrite Hollywood just didn't exist anymore. Poof.
It was the number one app on the App Store for a while.
Well,
right?
Once upon a time it was, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. And then OpenAI is looking at the expenses of actually producing these AI videos, and it was the numbers were so bad, it was just better to kill the thing, kill $1 billion, several $1 billion deal that it had with Disney. Even Disney wasn't aware of it. So, these things can't just poof out overnight because it takes a lot of money. It takes a lot of resources to run all of these AI things. The future, I think some of these models will be useful in the way that people are using them now locally, in the way you're seeing Apple and a bit of Google too, like running things on devices, right? It's on device AI that can do a lot of great work for people. But the broader overall ecosystem that we're seeing here, I don't know how this can survive because they're not making money, right? Those early users came from the money, these sort of like subsidized versions of AI that, Copilot was everywhere. OpenAI stuff was more readily available to people. But now these companies want people to pay. people would love to use it for free. I don't know if we're seeing people actually paying much for them, though.
That's fair.
I think Nicholas and I are on a different, I don't know, I'm not going to put words in your mouth, Nicholas, but I'm going to propose this. Might be on a different side of the spectrum because we love AI. We are using AI. Sora, to me, looks like a toy, but there are very good, valid, non-toy uses of AI, right, Nicholas?
Yeah, there's like two camps here. And I think one of the things was, all the folks saying like, oh, Sora will revolutionize Hollywood. Consumers, all of us, they're going to create their own. Isn't it like 90% of people create like crap, or like 10% of people create
junk?
Like 100. No one's like clamoring to like make their own Hollywood movies starring their friends. It's not a thing that people just want to like relax and I guess look at scrolls or TikTok or whatever the case may be. No one's like clamoring to be like the next Spielberg. Like that's not a thing. So I think
there are models that can do that, right? I mean, there's some very good.
I have a in development project. So that's the one half of this where it's like, I think the idea like the average person is just a latent Steven Spielberg and they just needed the tools.
No,
I don't know that there's a whole lot of truth to that.
There's a certain thing called talent. I just want to point out.
Or just a desire to like, I don't want to,
stick-to-itiveness.
Just because a camera is available doesn't mean I'm going to become the next, Annie Leibovitz or whatever. It's like,
as a young man, younger anyway, in TV, spent hours in editing suites. And I thought in the early 90s, no one's ever going to want to edit their own stuff. It's too horrible and too painful to do video editing. I was wrong on that, but still, it's not a majority of people do their own video editing.
For people to start
CapCut and stuff like that made it possible.
Yeah. And so that half, but the other half is some of the projects I've made, the agentic programming, the different models that are coming out. I think that's quite useful. I mean, you could, just for creating simple apps and websites and different things, something that could have taken you, days or whatever. Now you could spin it up in like an hour or whatever. I've launched so many different things, both, side projects, some internal CR projects, apps that are like 90% done and that will be published on the App Store soon enough. It's like, I could sit there and write all this Python code by hand, I suppose, but I could also just ask like Claude Code or
like
Codex or like DeepSeek and have it write these for me. And it's like, I'm still the one, infusing the project, my creativity.
Yep.
I wanted to do this. I have this thing in mind. It's solving this particular problem for me or this cool thing. But like, if you want to write the Python, be my guest. Like, I don't necessarily care. And it's funny, I see some of the older school programmers that are like, well, programming is an art form. I want to write yes, of course, I understand that and I respect that, but that's like not everybody. A lot of folks just kind of want to watch YouTube. A lot of folks just want the app to work. Whatever it is, they're not in love with like the writing process. Like, I'm a writer. I like writing. Most people don't like writing. If you're lucky, they might like reading. So it's like, people confuse like their own passion for a subject as being the only way to engage with that subject. And I don't know that that's the case. And, I'm not saying that my little projects are going to become the next big thing. That's not probably unlikely, but it's fun for me. At the very least, it's a creative outlet that I get to spend time with that I would have been doing, passively consuming, Netflix or whatever the case may be. This is one of
Nicholas's projects, deepdugout.com, where you replayed the World Series.
What I did was, this is the 2026 project. This project started in late February. At late February, I went to Polymarket and said, what are the projected teams for the World Series? At the time, it was the Dodgers and the Mariners. So I said, okay, great. What I want to do is simulate the World Series. Kind of like how back in the day, they used to say that, Madden football predicts the Dallas Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl this year. So I was like, okay, I want to do that. And so what it is it uses all real stats from Fangraphs. Like I used Claude Code to build this. I use all real stats from Fangraphs. It's all 30 teams. The managers are given personalities based on like actual journalistic profiles and like Sports Illustrated and things like that. And the managers are run by models. And there's like a simulation. It's kind of like dice rolls in Dungeons and Dragons, where it's like the managers are the models, Sonnet, Opus, and they're deciding, should I pull the pitcher? Should I keep the pitcher?
I love this.
And there's like a whole like pipeline of content in there. And it's like I consider it to be like an art project. It's not journalism. It's not, it's just, as I was saying before we started recording, it was really the idea here. I'm a Mets fan. You can see the Mets hat in the background. I don't like the way the team is running. So I joked to my wife, it would be way better if just AI was managing the team, was running the team specifically. David Stern's the general manager. And so it's like, okay, let's do that. Let's simulate. The initial idea was, let me simulate the entire league. 162 games, that would have been a little expensive. So I simulated the World Series. I gave the Dodgers the fancier model. I gave them Opus. I gave the Mariners Sonnet. And, I ran it 100 times to give it some statistical significance. I had a Discord component where I simulated opening day live in Discord. There was channels for every single game.
Wow.
There's audio podcasts. There's articles. I think this is a representative of like the internet is just going to be filled with AI stuff. I mean, we see all the AI slop videos nonstop now. This is arguably AI slop, but to me, it's interesting, and it's like, okay, it's kind of like it's just a fun thing. I just wanted to take that idea of like, it would be better if AI was running the team and see how far I could take that. And it builds on my Tucson news site, some of the work I did there. So all this stuff is like accretive, and it gets me using the different models, and it gets me, in the trenches with this stuff, which I write about for Consumer Reports. I think it's useful to actually use the tools beyond just the chatbot aspect, basically.
Yeah, there's something you touched on there that stuck out to me. And one of the reasons that I have come to appreciate these tools is you said you were talking to your wife and you thought this. I think about the many times in the past where in the day I'll have 5 different silly ideas or actually good ideas for me or helpful ideas. And I go, well, I don't have the time or the resources or whatever to put toward that. So, oh, well, and then it just disappears into the ether. There's a recent project that I did. It involves a little bit of a story. My significant other was out thrifting for his DVD collection and texted me to ask me, is this DVD title in my collection? And then if you have time, could you go check? I was in the middle of something, so I was like, okay, I'll quickly go check. I run upstairs. I look at his DVD collection. It's not in alphabetical order. So I'm like, I'm going to have to look through every single one of these to find out. I said, is there any order to this? He said, it's by genre. I said, oh, Lord. Whose genre choices? Madness. So anyway, immediately what I did was I took a photo.
It's by spine color.
Right,
okay?
Exactly. I took 4 photos of the whole collection and then popped them into Claude and said, can you quickly just read through all these titles for me? And it did. And then I was able to quickly check against that database. But then I thought, this could be so much better. So what I did was from there, I said, what I'd like to do is create because my significant other, I can barely get him to ever install any apps. So I'm like, I know he's not going to install an app. So what I need to do is make him a little website that he could just go to. So what I ended up doing was I decided I wanted it to be a really simple website. I don't want to have to work with some sort of database tool. Well, I can use Google Sheets as the database. I can reference that Google Sheets document and present it in this nice way. Anyway, ended up building out this little site for him that the main page lets him start to type in a title. It ties in with the TMDB, which is the movie database API, to check against characters as he's typing and goes, oh, this is already in your collection, or oh, it's not. Would you like to add it? And so when he's at a thrift store, he can type in the title, see if he already has it. If he doesn't, then no, he can add it. And then the second page on the site has his whole collection, again, pulled from TMDB to get the photos of the front pages of the DVDs, and all of that, I was able to, and it was the idea you were talking, Nicholas, about your creativity being there. Yeah, I'm the one who thought, I don't want to build a site that has to have a database. So let's see about using Google Sheets. It figured out how to contact the API and do all that part of it. Then over time, he said, well, I like this, but the seasons, it's not tracking seasons. Can we add that? Is that going to take a long time? You don't have to do it if it's too much work. I said, oh, it's not too much work. And then asked Claude, and it helped me create that part of it and push it. So I really do like those opportunities to where these ideas I would have otherwise just kind of had to throw by the wayside. I'm able to make use of that. And I've appreciated that aspect of it more than anything.
So I feel like the AI industry would be much better served taking, Micah, your story right there. Some like this funds like nice stuff, and like this is what AI enables. Don't lead with like job destruction. Don't lead with like
making a new movie.
That's kind of like a downer. I guess the flip side is is everyone going to do this? How much money are they going to make off a little website database, a little baseball simulation? I don't know, maybe, but that's not my fault for like promising the sun and the stars with this technology when they could have sold it as like, hey, this is like a useful productivity thing. They could have sold it much more soberly, and maybe it would have been better.
So that's not how this industry works, though, right? It has to be to the moon.
Sure.
It has to be to the moon, basically.
Yeah. But this is the answer to your original question, Micah, of what happens if there's a bubble burst. I think what's happening is people are seeing value, a lot of it, right? And they are using it. And maybe it starts with us geeks because we're much more likely to sit down at a keyboard and do something like you just did, or even think of the fact that, I could take a picture of this and feed it to Claude, is certainly a geeky mindset. But this is going to trickle down. It's changing how people relate to computers. It changes how people use computers. And I think in the long run makes them much more useful. And I think that's why venture capital is pumping all this money into these companies that are then pumping the money into data centers and new models, because they perceive a real upside to it. And it is a complete reinvention of how the world works. We've been through this before. Industrialization changed everything, was a complete upheaval. When we invented the car, that was a complete upheaval in American society, in how people got to places, about where their jobs were, the kinds of jobs. We have been through this before. There is upheaval. People lose their jobs.
People lose their lives. About work. By the way, cars becoming mainstream led to tons of kids just being dead on the street.
Well, absolutely.
That was the street. So,
you could say I'm not saying it's all positive by any means. In fact, you could say, cars have changed cities. They've changed where we live. They made the suburbs possible. I mean, there's all sorts of things that cars have done to change society. We've survived it. We've lived through this before. And I think this is the kind of change we're seeing. And if you had been sitting in 1910 thinking, what should I invest in? And you decided to invest in rubber, oil, and automotive stuff, you might have done better if you'd had some vision about it. And I think that's what the market's seeing. So, but to answer your question, Micah, Jeff Bezos said this a couple of months ago. He said there are two kinds of bubbles. There are financial bubbles that are just about money, like the stock market crash, where everybody was in 1929 heavily invested and leveraged, and it just crashed because all this leverage, the margin calls, and everybody jumped out of windows. He said, versus an industrial bubble. And we have some examples of industrial bubbles. The Transcontinental Railway, all those railroads went bankrupt, by the way. They all went out of business. The internet boom of the late 19th or 20th century, we laid a lot of fiber. A lot of those companies, MCI is gone. But the fiber is still there. The railroads were still there. There's infrastructure that gets built. And I think Bezos is saying this is that kind of bubble. It is, in the long run, a potentially positive bubble. It's not a financial bubble where people just lose their shirts. They might, but it is a bubble where, and companies will, I'm sure, go out of business, and some investors will lose their shirts, and some even, mom and pop retail investors might lose their shirts in the stock market. But ultimately, we're going to get some value out of it. And that's the reason I asked you, Nicholas, is I think you and I'll have to add Micah now to this, have created things that we see some real value in it. More than just, it's an art project, but you can see there's value being created that couldn't have been created before.
Those projects are great. Those projects are totally great. But I look at, like, you bring these to the AI executives, like you're saying, Nicholas, they're going to look at this and be like, oh, nerd shit.
Right.
This is,
of course,
wonderful nerd shit. And it's like, can I build like a global empire on this? Can I sell this to the average consumer? I don't know if they can. Like that to me is
they focused on chatbots. They focused on Sora. They focused on this crappy consumer stuff.
This is cool stuff. Like, it's super cool. I wish I had time to like play around with these things in this way too. Unfortunately, like, my perspective is from like looking at the news and trying to see like what is happening at the broader market level. Yeah.
People look at it that way, have a much more negative point of view than the people who are actually playing with this stuff and see, there's something here that's going on. For sure. Right? If you just totally think it's a bunch of chatbots, it's like, who cares? This is so Sora. Who cares?
It is worrying, though, because even just like from the chatbot side, which is how normal people are interacting with this, by the way, that's how it is. And in the future, it's probably going to be a handful of like the Super Siri or whatever. It's going to be personal assistants, people talking to their phone or whatever, saying, do this for me. Can you figure out how to do this for me, rather than doing the legwork that you guys are doing right now? But I look at like what is happening in the AI industry, and just like the effect it's having on humanity is kind of disturbing. Like at a philosophical level, that is kind of what's keeping me partially away from it, because it does feel like we're stripping our humanity away a little bit here creatively.
I just saw a paper that said that AI psychosis was almost inevitable.
And there are so many examples of AI psychosis right now. People have hurt themselves, they've killed other people. Somebody I saw tweeted this recently, like a toy, it used to be a toy slightly injures a kid and the entire thing is pulled offline. And you have these models out here they're just out here kind of like doing weird things to human psychology that we don't totally understand, but that's an acceptable loss. It's an acceptable loss for the progress of this industry, and I find that very, very sad and disheartening.
I want to agree with that 100% too. That has been one of the issues that, because we talked a lot about it over the course of multiple episodes of Tech News Weekly, is specifically the different AI systems and the horrible situations that have come out of it in those cases. And yeah, it's specifically what you touched on, that a toy does this or a car does this, and those things get recalled or stopped or what have you.
Because we have regulations for those things.
Too. Yeah, I do struggle with the concept of the AI tools that have been given freely to schools and schools then adopting them so freely. I don't know how to reckon with that. I don't know. Other than I wish that, as soon as those things happened, it should have been shut down. It should have at the very least been pulled from education, I guess. But again, I don't know how to reckon with that. And I think that one thing that is difficult to do in any form of media, but in particular in forms of media that tend to be sort of condensed down, is holding to points of contrasting beliefs and having them both heard and not thinking that one outshines the other. So I can say that I have enjoyed the ways that I have made use of these tools, and I can say I am not happy with the fact that people have been killed or have killed themselves, at least partially because of these tools. And have those things both be true and have all of that communicated is very difficult, because people do want a side to be taken. In that way, it is difficult.
Yeah, Micah, I'm right there with you. As someone, obviously I use these things. I find some utility with them. The downsides are obvious and very bad. And I don't know that one side needs to beat the other, but to communicate that there's merits to this whole is very difficult, especially in today's climate where, people don't read the article. They might read the headline. They might read the tweet. They'll see a reel on Instagram. There's really, it's difficult to kind of get nuanced and in-depth messages out there nowadays. So it's very tricky. And I will say I spoke at a University of Arizona class maybe 2 months ago to discuss my Tucson news site. And I will say the students there were very skeptical of AI. They were very, Leo, they were cringe, they were not down with the sickness, so to speak. They this is destroying our ability to think, so on and so forth. And so I don't know if there's a generational aspect here. I'm not a kid, I'm 40. These were like 20-year-olds, give or take. And there were, by and large, this is 20 students. They were by and large certainly not in love with the idea of AI. So I don't know how this
I think they're scared,
evolves.
Right? I mean, if you're at college right now, you've got to be scared about what's the job market going to be? What's
scared about the world, scared about the future. Like literally everything is on fire. So it's just add one to the pile,
Yeah. Let's take a little break. You're watching This Week in Tech with the week's tech news. Micah Sargent is here. It's so nice to have you. We had thought maybe Micah would have to take over because I am thousands of miles in the middle. I am in the most remote spot in the world, in the middle of the ocean. It's called Hawaii. Maybe you've heard of it. And you can see the ocean behind me. Having a wonderful time, I must say. And so I thought, well, I should see if I can do shows from other places. And it's working pretty well, actually.
This should be your new thing, just new extreme environments.
I think so. I think Antarctica is next, right? That's nice. Devinder Hardawar from Engadget, where he's senior editor. And Nicholas De Leon is also here. Great to have you, senior electronics reporter at Consumer Reports. We are going to take a little break because we weren't sure if this would work. I recorded all the commercials ahead of time. So we all get to stand up and wander around. And we'll be back with more of Twit in just a moment. This episode of Twit brought to you by Helix Sleep. How are you preparing for spring cleaning season? It's time to upgrade. Put that old mattress on the curb, upgrade to a Helix mattress, and get yourself a good night's rest. I mean, we love our Helix mattress. No more night sweats, no back pain, no motion transfer. I can tell you, I'm missing it in Hawaii. And let me tell you, don't settle for some third-party mattress made overseas with low quality and really questionable materials. You want the best. And you can rest assured your Helix mattress is assembled, packaged, and shipped from Arizona. And within days of placing your order, they build it to order, so it's brand new and fresh. You can also take the Helix Sleep Quiz. That's what we did. It'll match you with the perfect mattress based on your personal preferences and your sleep needs. And I got to tell you, it works. My deep sleep, that's the most important one, where your brain, gets cleared out, is up. I've almost doubled it. I'm not alone. Actually, Helix did a sleep study, a Wesper sleep study, where they measured participants' sleep performance after doing what we did, switching from their old mattress to a Helix mattress. And this is what they found. 82% of the participants saw, just like me, an increase in their deep sleep cycle. Participants on average achieved 25 more minutes of deep sleep per night. That's a lot. I mean, deep sleep, it's a half an hour to an hour a night anyway. It's not for very long. Get another 25 minutes, you're going to feel great. Participants on average achieved 39 more minutes of overall sleep per night. Time and time again, Helix Sleep remains the most awarded mattress brand, tested and reviewed by experts. Forbes loves it. Wired loves it. Helix delivers your mattress right to your door with free shipping in the U.S., and you can rest easy with seamless returns and exchanges. They call it their Happy with Helix guarantee, and it provides an absolutely risk-free, customer-first experience because they want to ensure you're completely satisfied with your mattress. By the way, I am. You're never getting my mattress back. I love my Helix. Go to helixsleep.com/twit for 27% off site-wide during the Memorial Day sale best of web offer. And it's exclusively for listeners of This Week in Tech. So make sure you go to that address. That's helixsleep.com/twit. 27% off site-wide. And please make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. Twit. This offer ends May 31st. And if you're listening after the sale ends, I'm sorry, but you should still check them out because they always have great deals. helixsleep.com/twit. Now, back to Hawaii. All right, we're back on Twit. Is this your site, Crosswording the Situation, Nicholas? Is this you too?
That's mine. Yes.
So what is this?
Ooh. So the meme monitoring the situation. I presume everyone here. That's when you're a news junkie and you're really following.
That's
whatever
what guys say. They're monitoring the situation.
Yeah, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek whatever.
Yes.
So about a month ago, I started doing the Apple News mini crossword puzzle because I'm becoming an old man in real time.
You are. Yes.
But all the clues were generic. It's like not a cat, but a blank. So I was like, well, that's fine. But like, what if the clues were all about news items? And we called it crossword. So it's like all the clues are. So this I built with Claude Code. This actually took probably, I didn't.
So it's writing the clues from the news?
Yeah, so what it's doing, there's a couple things happening. Basically, it is going out and scanning the major news, the New York Times, Reuters, AP. It's either scanning their websites or their Blue Sky feeds or a bunch of different sources. It's kind of like getting a state of the news, and it goes back, I think, 2 months. And then that's all put against a giant open source word list that's out there somewhere. And then it tries to create the puzzle. The puzzle cost me like a penny to create. Sonnet is doing it.
Sonnet's pretty amazing, actually. It's surprisingly good. Yeah.
Yeah, it took about 2 weeks to really nail it. I had a lot of problems with the iOS keyboard for whatever reason. And the initial version, maybe half of the clues were based in news and the other half were just kind of random generic stuff. So it took a little while to really nail down. But this is really hard.
Yeah, I know.
It's harder than the New York Times mini.
I haven't gotten one yet. Let's see.
Me neither. Wow.
So yeah, I will say, I stopped doing them after the first week or so. So I really don't.
Do you have any statistics on how many people are doing these?
I don't have them handy. I mean, look, it's not.
It's gonna go up a lot. Crosswordingthesituation.com.
Yeah,
this is a challenging video. Now, do you play the fun little tune when you solve it at the end?
No, I think it gives you the story. I'm happy to add that to the you can make a pull request, Leo.
Yeah, I will. I'll do a PR for you. This is impressive.
It's just like I don't know. This is kind of the way my brain, all these little side things. Oh, this would be cool. This would be cool. And now I have the time and like the research instead of, again,
this is the mindset you need, I think, to really take advantage of this. Is my feeling on this. Wow, this is great.
Yeah,
very nice.
So I again, none of this is going to become the next Facebook or whatever, but it's just a fun, creative way to spend an hour or so here or there, and I get to use the models, and it keeps me like. I don't know. I think it's fun. Ultimately, this is fun too.
Actually, I don't know if you want to be the next Facebook. You know, Meta's historic loss in court could cost a lot more than $375 million. This is in New Mexico, just, next door.
Next door, yeah.
The Attorney General, Raul Torres, sued Meta in a landmark child safety case, won. A jury... the judge awarded $375 million. They go back now for a 3-week public nuisance trial, whether and they're going to argue over the changes because the Attorney General doesn't want just money. He wants Meta to make some changes to Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, including age verification for New Mexico users, prohibiting end-to-end encryption for users under 18. I don't know what that's all about. And capping their use to 90 hours a month, limiting engagement boosting features like infinite scroll and autoplay, and requiring Meta to detect 99% of new CSAM. Crazy. It is not a good thing to be Meta right now, if you ask me.
No.
Meta's response. We're gonna leave New Mexico if you do this. We're gone. Yeah, these are technologically impractical changes.
Many of them are, unfortunately.
Some of them seem reasonable, maybe time limits or whatever, but like we're going to get rid of end-to-end encryption. I mean, that's bad for any number of reasons. I don't know.
They don't want kids to have privacy. I'm trying to figure out what this is. It's interesting because what happens when you do this is now suddenly you have to also ban VPNs, because if you say, well, this is only in New Mexico, then kids who aren't stupid are going to say, oh, well, guess what? I'm no longer in New Mexico, which is leading Utah to want to effectively ban VPNs. Utah is the first state to hold websites liable. Websites like Meta would be liable for users who mask their locations with VPNs. This law goes into effect in just a few days. It was signed into law by the governor March 19th. It goes into effect on May 6th. It's formerly Senate Bill SB 73. And this is what you're going to see in a lot of these states. I imagine New Mexico's next. NordVPN, and I'm sure joined by every other VPN provider in the world, has called the law a, quote, unresolvable compliance paradox and liability trap. The EFF says the legal risk could push sites to either ban all known VPN IPs or mandate age verification for every visitor in the world. Well, we can't tell you're from Utah, so we're just going to make sure you all do it. What is with legislatures? I don't think they understand technology. What is? I understand that they're not happy about social media.
Will solve everything.
Yeah. And this goes back in a way to what we were talking about earlier, which is there are harms. Clearly, there are harms to the internet. And maybe when we were starting out, we should have thought more about that. We didn't. Those harms are here. Social media is here. But this is not the solution. By the way, that was a jury trial. I got that wrong. So the jury awarded $375 million in New Mexico. Meanwhile, Australia continues the pain for Meta. A 2.25% levy on their revenue in Australia, not just Meta, but Google and TikTok, if they refuse to pay news publishers. This is a Rupert Murdoch bill that was passed
still going
in Australia.
On. He's still doing
amazing.
It.
And so what happened is Meta and others said, well, fine, no news for you. So Australia said, well, fine, even if you don't give us news, you're going to give us 2.25% of your revenue.
That's so funny.
This is basically all about protecting a moribund industry, the news industry, and in particular, Rupert Murdoch's news industry.
This is the thing about it. If it wasn't actually this secret other deal that is happening, there's something to the idea that, because I remember working for a news organization at the time when
they're all gone, the ones you worked for, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I remember someone coming in.
I don't mean to be mean.
But it is the case. Yeah. And there was a specialist who came in and was like, here's how you're going to make it big on Facebook. And then you find out allegedly that Facebook
a lot of companies did that,
up its video values and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I wish there was a world in which these companies that are sort of summarizing the news that exists did have to pay a little bit, but it sucks that really that's not what this is about.
Nobody owns the news. I mean,
and that's true. Yeah.
If somebody owned the news, then you couldn't do that crossword puzzle, Nicholas, because
correct.
The news is the news. You can.
I mean, I'll shut it down. It doesn't. It's not a for-profit enterprise.
But that's the point. Is nobody really owns this. The news, the facts are not copyrightable. The treatment of it is, but not the facts themselves.
Yeah, this goes back to like every medium too. Like when radio broadcasting was just starting, they were just reading newspaper headlines and newspaper reports. They didn't have the reporters. They were just repeating what was there. So we've been here before. We kind of keep doing it every time we have a big media shift.
What's the difference between saying no one owns the news and no one owns the alphabet? Because we could just say that, just because you've arranged these letters in a certain way doesn't mean that you should get paid for it.
I love that.
I don't think I like that argument. No one owns the news.
Mm-hmm. Well, facts are facts. You can't own facts. You can't copyright the facts. You can copyright how you wrote it. Mm-hmm. You can copyright your treatment of it.
But isn't that what the Meta and TikTok and et cetera were pulling from the treatment of? They weren't pulling the fact, right? They were summarizing the treatment that was put together about the thing that happened.
If this really were the case, then most websites would be gone, because what happens? One website breaks a story and every other website in the world, hundreds of them, copy it. I know this because when I go through the news every day looking for stories for the show, I get 20 copies of the same story. I always try to find the original, right? It's not easy. Sometimes it's really hard to do. But when Axios or The Information or the New York Times or the Journal breaks it, I try to use their version of the story. But it's not easy to do because you can't copyright it. It's a story.
A lot of stories are just like stuff a company announced, so everybody's going to have their take on it, their spin on it. That's not breaking. That's not like a scoop. That's
it's polite to say if Axios gets a scoop, it's polite to say Axios in a scoop broke the story. Yeah, but that's just polite. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from repeating it. In fact, it's what gets around most paywalls. Most people aren't going to pay $400 a year for the information, but don't worry, you don't have to.
You don't have to. Someone will publish what?
Somebody's going to reprint it.
Yeah,
including us. I mean, I'm a guilty party in this. I'm not going out and doing any reporting. I'm counting on you, Devendra, and you, Nicholas, and you, Mike. Well, Micah, you don't either. But
yeah, I was going to say I'm one of you. I'm one of you.
This is commentary. This is not reporting. Meta is also in trouble in the EU for failing to keep children off Facebook and Instagram. This is the same story. As soon as these countries require age verification, like in England, VPNs become huge in that jurisdiction. Meta is in breach of the Digital Services Act for failing to keep children off Facebook and Instagram. Now, the scary thing is the fines on this could be massive. A large percentage of their global revenue. We shall wait and see what they find them. The EU did create their own age verification app, which was, instantly cracked, like within 2 hours. In fact, there were a number of security holes in it. Ursula von der Leyen, who is now in charge of the DSA in the EU, says online platforms can easily rely on an age verification app, so there are no more excuses. We even have zero tolerance for companies that do not respect our children's rights. I should just turn it to Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sorry. But, Meta has not adopted the EU's age verification, and probably a good thing. Security researchers demonstrated it could be bypassed. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say 2 hours? Within 2 minutes of its release.
The source code's up on GitHub. So
yeah, it's open source.
Point ChatGPT.
Exactly.
Have you all started getting those? I've been logging in or doing whatever these different services, and now they're all starting to ask me what state I live in too, as well.
They have to,
that's
right?
I know. Isn't that so annoying? Yeah. Now I was even on it was on Apple TV. It was just wanting to watch some show, and it said, "Hold on, you got to log into your account." I had to go on my phone like some sort of animal, go to the website like some sort of animal, and then say my age like some sort of human.
I know here in Arizona, they passed a law to visit adult websites. You need either ID or, a half clever high school student will just use a VPN or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But I'm McLovin. My name's McLovin.
Yeah, exactly.
I live in Hawaii.
That's until they ban VPNs, and I'm like, okay, just go ahead, ban them. I mean, at this point, I'm old. I don't care as much as I used to. So,
and this is important because I think nobody would say, "Oh, a kid should be able to visit a porn site." We all agree.
Of course not.
No kid should be able to do that. You can't buy a Playboy in a 7-Eleven if you're right.
Find it in the woods like everybody used to.
That's exactly right.
Dig it out of the ground like you do with the mushrooms.
Who are burying their Playboys? I don't understand what that is all about. But anyway. That's another story for another day. So I think we're for it. But what the interesting thing is, it really was never about the porn ban. That was just the wedge.
No, of course,
in the door. Because really, they want to ban the internet for people under 16. They want to ban social media. They want to really restrict what kids can access. And I'm not sure I agree with that. I don't know if that's a
yeah. I mean, when I was a kid, this is the thing where parenting is important. When I was a kid, I was looking up video game stuff. It's like I was actually using it as research and homework and the things you were supposed to use it for, even at an early age. Well, my mom was very strict that I knew from a very early age not to tempt fate, so to speak. But that's not every kid. Some kids are going to look up, they're going to gamble on Polymarket or whatever the case may be. So it's this is the role of a parent to tell,
if our nation's governing body can gamble on Polymarket, I think everybody should be allowed to gamble.
Talk about downfall of our civilization. But Nicholas, the thing is, the internet was just one place back then, like when we were kids.
That's true.
It was shared family computer that your parents could watch you do stuff in, and maybe occasionally you'd have access at your school library or something. But now it's like it is everywhere.
Everyone has internet in their pocket, right?
In their pocket, and that's the thing. And I think the EU's heart is in the right place, like protecting kids.
I'm not denying
so many ways.
I just don't think they have the technology to do it.
They don't have the tech to do
it.
The
EU did a study that said, "Oh, look, a kid can say I'm 18 on Facebook, and there's nothing to stop them." Well, yeah. I mean, we run a Mastodon instance, right? Twit.social, which you're all welcome to join if you want to be on Mastodon. And I have now been forced, because of all these laws in various jurisdictions, to say you must be over 18 to use it. But Mastodon has no age verification capability. Mm-hmm. So I just say, by signing up, you assert that you are over 18. Sure. You must be over 18. That's dopey. But I feel like I have to do it.
How porn sites used to do it, as I've heard. So it used to be
they do. Liquor sites do it. What's your birthday, right? And that's all
exactly
ask, right.
Yep.
It's the same thing. I mean, it's again, I think the EU's heart is in the right place because we allowed this internet to grow to obscene heights. Like Facebook's reach, its market reach is insane. What it was allowed to do, the companies it was allowed to gobble up, the sort of mind share that is fully owned by Mark Zuckerberg, I think is kind of gross. And we lived through that. I reported through that. And it was a lot of governments, a lot of just hey, Facebook wants to buy this company and we're going to allow this $19 billion WhatsApp deal or whatever. Not many questions being asked. We all thought social media is great. These tech companies are trying to do good in the world. And maybe the reason I'm sounding a little negative now is like I've lived through several waves of tech company innovation,
right?
And practically every time, it has not ended up so great. And
it's
certainly
a money grab.
The social media thing was just like, it was purely, money grab, user attention grab. We want those DAUs. We want to have the most engagement over our competitors at the cost of users, at the cost of like kids' mental health, at the cost of so many things.
But what's the solution?
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's so hard. Go ahead.
We have to have these discussions, and where there are going to be some clunky solutions. Some things are not going to work, but we got to start having this conversation more broadly. Maybe we should, like, my daughter is 7 years old right now, so she is years away from having a smartphone.
Care. Now I get it. You are faced with this.
We know social media has not been great for kids, like for teenagers in particular. Like,
so what are you going to do, Devendra? Are you going to give your kid a phone? Or
I don't know yet. What I do kind of want to do eventually is just like, what is great? A GPS cellular enabled Apple Watch is a great thing, like for parents. Like could be like, that is your emergency. You need to get a hold of me for whatever. I need to see where you are if you're going to hang out with friends or something. I'm less interested in location tracking and more in just like, anything happens, you raise your wrist, you call for help. That can happen, and I can reach.
And Apple's
you
actually embraced that a couple of years ago. They allowed you to set up a watch with your phone without them having a phone. They can
for sure, and like the whole family plans and stuff like those sorts of things. That's kind of where I'm sitting.
I think that's a good solution.
Can I ask how are you deciding on? Is this a matter of talking to other parents and seeing what they do? Is it a matter of reading books? Is it a matter of all of these things? That's something that I've always been curious about with, especially parents who are a little bit more tech knowledgeable. We have Lisa Schmeiser talks a lot about the work that she, a friend of the show, does with her daughter, and like they have a contract that they wrote up together, and everyone's so there's just different ways of doing it. I've seen how Jason Howell, friend of the show, has done that. You know what I mean? And so I'm just curious what your method is, because you said you don't know yet. Are you still collecting data?
There are no books written about this, right? Like books are the last place you go to like figure out what is happening in like the media and social media and stuff. A lot of it's just like reading the news, seeing what's happening, and looking at the tools available out there too. Like there are some really gross things out there. There's this, I don't know if you guys have seen Angel Sense, those sorts of it's the wearable that it was initially meant for kids with autism and kids who were like a flight risk, kids who like could run away from school or something, for parents to keep track of things. But now it's become just like this really thing for paranoid parents to get for their kids, and it can let them listen in to what is happening, like just instant mic on to listen into what's happening. And now schools are like, this is a rights violation. You cannot just listen in to every single classroom, and parents are fighting it. Parents are like, no, I must understand what is going around my kid at all times.
Hear what's happening in the class and then complain to the teacher.
This is the same parent that reads the kid's diary every night.
Yes. Wasn't that in Batman, The Dark Knight?
Horrifying.
We're talking about a lot of tech like that. But this is a thing that exists now, and some parents are doing it, and I think it's insane. So I'm thinking of like a sane reaction. Also, this will involve conversation with my daughter, seeing what she wants to use. And right now, what we're doing is mainly tech in a localized way that I can see what she's doing. Right? She is an iPad kid. Like she spends time on her iPad. She loves Minecraft. I'm there engaging with her. She's not out there playing with like randoms online yet. We're not doing Roblox. And maybe that's going to be a conversation. That's going to be a fight at some point. Because from what I hear, from what I've seen, Roblox is not great. At taking care of that community. But Minecraft is relatively safe. She plays with her cousins once in a while. She plays with me. The idea of a central computer, I think we kind of got to go back to that. The den computer, the living room computer, where like your kids are online and doing stuff for school, and you're like interacting with them.
It's so funny. I was a friend, one of my friends, he says like that was like, the internet, the phones everywhere. The computer in the den was peak. That was the best because you could go on, you could use whatever, read whatever, and then boom, you're done. And then you're back in reality, you're out of the matrix. And that was way more balanced and way more healthy. And frankly, if you're a parent, like I said, my mom was very strict, but she had the advantage of there was one computer which she could monitor. And eventually, honestly, I was quite obedient. I really didn't try to say she was very strict, so I got the message very quick is what I'm saying. But like it was a lot easier in the 90s to do that than now. Even if you're like a sophisticated parent, I'm gonna block it in the router, not a single packet is getting into my house. It's like, okay, well, they go to school, they have friends,
devices have cellular, they're not touching your router. Like, there's so many workarounds. But I do remember, like, in the 90s, what the warnings to parents were like, don't let your kids talk to strangers on the internet. And I absolutely spent many a night talking to strangers on the internet about anime and video games and whatever. And I've made some of my, like, greatest friends there. Like, that to me was peak internet. Just like this pure discovery, this thing that was like mostly untouched by like big corporate tech companies. It was just people out there building things, doing cool things, like what you guys are kind of doing now with AI. Like, the coolest thing about AI is it does take us back to that sort of like era of people just making cool shit. And I kind of
that's what happened with the personal computer era, right? We suddenly have a computer, and you're all of an age where you probably had that computer as a kid, and you messed with it. Maybe some of you
did everything,
destroyed it.
Yeah. And
broke
that's
it,
how you
built it back, and
that's fantastic, and that's why you're geeks now, right?
But this is like, we were talking about Apple and AI. Like, the thing, as I've been thinking about Apple and Turnus, like how he can change his company, I think Apple is the last like PC computer company that is actually focused on personal computing, right? Like, everyone else was chasing AI or so many things. Apple's like, we're making better laptops, we're making better phones, we're making better earbuds or something. But it's tech that you use, you touch and feel, and that affects your lives. That is personal computing. And I wish more companies kind of thought like that. You know, I just, I reviewed one of Dell's like great new laptops, the XPS 14, and it does so many things right. It has this killer keyboard issue. And I'm talking to Dell, I'm talking to people like, how the hell? It's, it doesn't type fast enough.
Oh no!
It don't type good.
It can't keep
up. It is
up?
a beautifully machined thing. Well, it's like, so one thing I do a lot
is that a Windows problem? Can you put Linux on it and see if it works better?
I think
Linux?
I've talked to Dell. They've talked to their engineers. They've localized to like, it was maybe part of the part that's being used, the digitizer, to like accept keyboard commands. Like, something was so there. They've issued a firmware upgrade, and I've seen it, and it's just like a weird issue for such like a beautiful machine to have. But
so you can type faster than the keyboard can keep up.
The keyboard is just like dead. It's broken. Like,
that's terrible.
If I type like the comma and spacebar too quickly, it'll register spacebar comma. I'm like, I can't work on this.
That's no good. That's no good.
I cannot work. Like, so they say it was a manufacturing issue with like the first run that went to reviewers. I'm gonna check out like a newer machine to see if they actually fix it.
Yeah, because I thought those looked great. I thought that was a great looking computer. And
but it's
a lot of the Linux guys like the awesome battery life. I saw a lot of good stuff about the XPS.
It's a great, it's like a great Windows machine otherwise, but it's also like, man, you guys are so focused. Last year they were focused on that dumb rebrand of like changing all their computers.
They went back. Thank God they went back to XPS.
Oh man, I felt so good. I felt so good coming in. They're like,
great line.
You were all right.
I've owned many XPSs over.
It was amazing.
By the way, on Wednesday we had Nirav Patel, who was the founder of Framework on Intelligent Machines, and they're making some. That new PC laptop they made is beautiful.
It looks awesome. Yeah.
I'm worried about them because their things tend to be more expensive, and like it is focused on the tinkerer market.
And they're small, so they also get hit
machines.
harder by the supply chain shortage because they're not buying as many RAM chips or whatever. Yeah. But he told me an interesting stat. He said 60% of the people who buy this new laptop are running Linux on it. They're not ordering it with Windows. They're running it with Linux.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of evangelization, because of the AI stuff. A lot of this is either Mac first or Linux first. Windows is kind of incidental to this AI conversation as far as the stuff that I'm doing. And a lot of Linux guys have been talking up Framework for, I don't know, past year or whatever. It's like, these are good computers. Just give it. It's a nice machine.
It was a little clunky, when it was the 13 and the 16, the original were a little. I had a 13, and
they were too big.
Yeah, it was a little clunky, but now they've decided, we're going to do a unibody aluminum chassis, much like the MacBook. And I think I haven't seen it yet, but are you reviewing it, Devendra?
I'm not reviewing it. I think maybe Dan Cooper and Gadget is reviewing it, but we were looking at it. We've covered them. I really like them as a company. But yeah, to my broader point, like I wish more people were like focused on the idea of personal computing, just like tech that people are using, and that it remains Apple's advantage. And every time Microsoft tries to release actual hardware, kind of falls on its face. Like, you look at the Surface, they had Xbox for so long. They keep fumbling that ball, and I don't understand what is happening. It's so stupid. And a lot of this is just tied to companies whose attention is diverted to AI or online infrastructure, something else that is not the core of what being a personal computing company should be. So I don't know. That's just a thought I've had. Like that's kind
that's
of
a really good
Apple
point.
is
And
still working
Turnus
out.
is a hardware guy, so maybe there's some hope that they will continue to focus on hardware. Although they had a very good quarter for services, and
For sure.
their services is now a big part of their overall.
Tim Cook make those little I did that stickers for services because he's the service guy. He's the one who launched all those services. He's the one who revamped their supply chain.
That's how you get ARPU, baby. It's all about the average revenue per user. The ARPU.
For sure.
You could sell them a computer once, but you could sell them services forever.
Yeah, but Turnus is interesting because it's sort of like Apple does have tunnel vision sometimes, right? Sometimes they're like, we must do it this way, you must do it our way. We're not going to cater to the market. And I do think
Steve Jobs-itis. It's that it's that still hangover of no, we know best. We know best, or we're not going to touch that market. That's beneath us or something. And the idea of Apple 10 years ago doing a $600 laptop, no kidding,
unbelievable. But now it's like it is viable, and also. Not only are they going to do it, they're going to make the best one that we have ever seen in that price range. I don't know how long they're going to be able to hold on to that, but I think that bodes well to like the future of how they consider products and what they're actually going to deliver to people. So
that's actually a really good point. I mean, if you say putting technology in people's hands is what's important, that Neo is a really good example of that. Right?
It is. I've been using it like on and off, like alongside an Air and next to MacBook Pros, and like that screen is so good. It has decent speakers. Like it's nice. It is if you want that Neo before prices skyrocket or supply disappears, like just get it. It
reminds me a little. I had in college. I was in college from 2004 to 2008, and I had the 12-inch PowerBook G4. My uncle got it to me as a high school graduation gift. Nice. And it was like. In retrospect, it broke at some point. I wish I was actually on eBay literally earlier this week trying to find one. But like the Neo is the new version of that. It's like it's small. It's awesome. It's like it's like the perfect college laptop. I actually have one on loan from Apple. I'll probably post like a first person impression thing or whatever in the next week or so. But yeah, it is like I would be very hard pressed to recommend. Like I live in a kind of a rural area, but one of my neighbors is constantly asking me like, oh, what's the best laptop? What should I get? Man, for $600, I would be very reluctant to mention anything other than the Neo at this point. I cannot imagine a PC that even touch, you get more expensive, Windows laptops are, there's plenty of good ones, but at this price point, I don't know. It'd be really hard to find something this credible at that price.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
One other issue before we take a break with Meta, one other story. Meta has an insatiable need for power, just like all these companies, especially the Frontier AI labs. In 2024, they used 18,000 gigawatt hours of electricity in their data centers, according to TechCrunch, enough to power 1.7 million American homes for a year. They have committed to building 30 gigs of renewable power sources. But one of the things they want to do, and they've just signed a deal with a company called Overview Energy, is put 1,000 satellites up that will beam light from the sun to solar farms over infrared to power data centers at night.
Wasn't this a James Bond supervillain plot?
Yes, it's very supervillain, isn't it?
This was one of those.
Overview is a 4-year-old Virginia outfit that emerged from stealth in December. Developing spacecraft, they collect plentiful solar power in space, convert it to near-infrared light, beam it at solar farms, hundreds of megawatts, which then convert that light to electricity. It is very James Bond.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
Well, it's better than burning natural gas, as Elon Musk is, to power your data centers. That's for sure.
Yeah. We have gone down a really dumb pipeline these days.
Pipeline.
Pipeline.
That's basically a giant space laser, though, right? That's like a giant space laser.
It's a giant space
frickin' lasers.
Laser. That's Micah Sargent.
Ha-ha.
He completes me.
Oh,
great to have you.
Good to be here.
Yeah, I don't get to work with you enough. I miss those days when we had a studio and I saw him every day.
And we did our bits.
And we did our little bits. Also here, Devendra Hardawar from Engadget. It's great to see you also. And newlywed Nicholas De Leon, senior electronics reporter. When you said your wife, I went, Ashley's so great. You guys deserve all that happiness. I'm very happy for you. That's great. We'll have more from Hawaii in just a little bit. Stay here. This episode of This Week in Tech brought to you by this little guy taking care of my house while I'm gone. It's a Thinkst Canary, and it's amazing. This is our sponsor for this segment. If you look at it, it looks like a external USB drive, right? But no, it's so much more. This, my friends, this is a honeypot that can be deployed in minutes. You can change up its personality like that, and it is a miracle that will let you know if there's a bad guy or malicious insider inside your network. How do you know that? You don't know that. On average, companies are not aware that they have been breached for 91 days, 3 months, that a bad guy can wander around untrammeled, without any restrictions, doing whatever they want. You need to know that. So you set up this Thinkst Canary. You actually should have one for every network segment, at least, right? So you might have several. Go to the console, you choose its personality. Now, this one's a Synology NAS. And man, it is a perfect reproduction. Down to the MAC address. It has a Synology MAC address. It has the complete perfect DSM-7 login screen. Everything looks real. A hacker cannot tell. But it doesn't have to just be a Synology. It can be a Windows server. It can be a Linux server. It can be a SharePoint server. It can have every service lit up like a Christmas tree, or just a couple of carefully chosen, file shares open up. Something that's going to attract the evil hacker, the wily hacker. It could also be a SCADA device, an SSH server. Sky's the limit. What you want to make it is something that a bad guy sees and says, is this a trap? Is this a honeypot? Even if it is, I can't resist it. It's just too good. I mean, they can't tell it's a honeypot, but they're suspicious types. The other thing you can do with your Thinkst Canary, you can generate Canary tokens, little files you can spread everywhere, even up into the cloud. I have on our Google Drive, for instance, what looks like a Google Sheet that says payroll information. It's not, but it looks like it. It's indistinguishable from it. You could make it an Excel spreadsheet, a Word document. You can make it almost anything. You can make it a WireGuard configuration. You can make it, there's like hundreds of different file types. And they look very real. So real that a hacker cannot pass them up. Payroll information. That's good. I need to open that. But the minute they try to open that file, you are alerted. No false alerts, just the alerts that matter. If someone's accessing that LUR file or brute forcing your fake internal SSH server, your Thinkst Canary will immediately tell you somebody in the network. This is what you need to know. So you choose a profile for your Thinkst Canary. You register it with a hosted console for monitoring and notifications. Then you just sit back and relax, because an attacker who's breached your network or a malicious insider or other adversaries that cannot help but make themselves known by accessing your Thinkst Canary. And now you know. Visit canary.tools/twit. Let me give you an example for a small business like ours. 5 is more than enough. Banks might have hundreds. Let's say 5. For $7,500 a year, you get 5 Thinkst Canaries. You get your own hosted console. You get upgrades. You get support, of course. You get maintenance. And if you use the code TWIT in the How Did You Hear About Us box, you're also going to get 10% off the price, not just for the first year, but for as long as you have your Thinkst Canaries. Now, I should reassure you, if you're at all concerned, you can always return your Thinkst Canary. They have a 2-month money-back guarantee, full refund, 60 days. I should also tell you, they've been advertising with us this month for 10 years. Thank you, our anniversary. They have never, not once, has anyone ever asked for that refund. Visit canary.tools/twit. Enter the code TWIT in the How Did You Hear About Us box, canary.tools/twit. We love them. Actually, if you go to canary.tools/love, you'll see all the love from so many people. Canary.tools/twit. Don't forget to enter TWIT in the How Did You Hear About Us box. Now, back to TWIT. Thank you, Leo. I get to thank myself. Something I rarely get to do. So the trial of the century has been going on. It started on last Monday. Musk versus Altman. Week 1, Elon Musk took the stand for a couple of days, and it was juicy. He said a lot of interesting things. AI could kill us all. He likened it to the Terminator. He said that he was duped, that OpenAI, because, he was, of course, the original founder. He's suing him, saying he wants some of the profits because he founded a nonprofit. When they converted to a for-profit, he says, well, I want some of the profits if you're going to be a for-profit. Could be worth billions of dollars. That's what Elon wants. I'm not sure his testimony helped him a whole lot. OpenAI's lawyer, William Sabat, who actually, by the way, represented Tesla at one point, said that Musk was never committed to OpenAI being a nonprofit. He was simply suing to undermine a competitor, because don't forget, Elon now has a for-profit AI company called XAI, which merged with SpaceX a little while ago. So what is it? Is Elon trying to preserve AI safety, or is he just trying to put OpenAI out of business? At one point, he also admitted, which was, I think, a tactical error, that XAI distills OpenAI's models.
Whoopsie.
What is
who doesn't?
Who does it? So what is that, Nicholas? Distilling the models. What does that mean?
I actually don't know how to explain it very well. It's basically you're kind of copying someone's homework, I guess, is the easiest way.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So the long time Anthropic and I think OpenAI have accused the Chinese AI models of distilling. Basically, you create an LLM, and then in the post training, you make it even smarter by opening accounts with the frontier model. Let's say you're using Claude. Anthropic says that one of the Chinese models opened 24,000 fraudulent accounts with Claude.
Wow.
And peppered it with questions and used its answers in its training. So, a lot of times you'll do post-training on an LLM model with experts. You'll get an expert physicist and you'll say, okay, now give it a bunch of tough physics questions, and then grade its response and teach it where it went wrong, make it better at physics. So in effect, they're asking Anthropic or OpenAI to be the teacher and make the AI better. And I think for that reason, some of these Chinese models are actually, DeepSeek just came out with version 4. Quen is very good. Kimi's very good. Mm-hmm. I think they're probably good because they've been trained on the frontier models from Anthropic and OpenAI. Well, XAI apparently is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Why say it?
He's not a very smart guy. Like, I don't know what will it take for us to stop taking Elon Musk seriously at this point. Like, he has proven himself to be a bad dude. The richest man in the world is out there doing horrible things. Like the last year alone, I can list so many things. But the thing I keep coming back to is that Nazi salute. It tells me who you are.
That's true. In that moment,
it tells me who you are. Being the thing I will never forgive him for is gutting USAID, something that has already affected hundreds of thousands of people and will likely lead to millions of deaths. And he is doing all of this gleefully.
It was kind of an own goal. If he would just sit back and collect his billions.
But he can't.
He didn't have to do Doge. He didn't have to do any of that.
That's true.
But he gleefully did it because it benefited him.
That's right. I have a theory that really, let's face it, SpaceX especially, but certainly Tesla, benefit from federal subsidies. Our taxpayers' money is a lot of Elon's billions. Let's
nationalize Tesla. Let's go.
So whoever is in government, it's in Elon's interest to curry favor with them, because the more contracts he gets, the better. And the government's done a lot of good for him. In fact, you might even argue that the router ban, the foreign router ban, there's only one router company making routers in the United States. It's SpaceX. It's Starlink. Even that benefits Elon, right?
The dude spent $250 million, $250 million to basically be a shadow president for 6 months.
Yes, that's how much he donated to the Trump campaign, $250 million.
That's what he's done. So it's like, I can excuse Tim Cook. I'm not proud of it, but Tim Cook trying to be nice to the Trump administration, everything, giving him a golden medal, or what was it, the golden statue?
It was a bar of gold with a
cost of doing business
glass trophy on it.
It's the cost of doing business. But being a gleeful participant in the destruction of our democracy, screw you, Elon Musk. I think
a lot of Tesla owners now have the bumper stickers. I bought this before Elon went crazy, things like that.
But the even better part of this too is the creators of the frontier AI models. Buddy, what have you all trained those frontier AI models on? Oh no, they're stealing my stolen data. Oh no, I'm playing the world's tiniest violin for all of you.
That's a very good answer to the distillation complaint. Well, isn't that what you did to train your models in the first place? All right, maybe. Elon, this is great, by the way, reporting from Michelle Kim at the MIT Technology Review. She was in the room. A lot of reporters were sitting there for this trial. She said, in fact, Musk admitted that XAI uses OpenAI's technology in response to Savitz's relentless questioning. He said AI partly distills OpenAI's models. Some people in the courtroom gasped. Clearly, the people who understood what that meant went,
That's
why did he
funny.
admit that? Why did he admit that? He said it's a standard practice to use other AIs to validate your AI, said Elon. All right.
Jake Ward, my co-host on Tech News Weekly, was also one of the people
Was he
in
there?
the room. Yeah,
Good
he
for
and I
Jacob.
talked on Tech News Weekly about it, and he talked kind of, I thought it was interesting, a little bit more about the human side of things. At one point, Elon had gone up to go into the court, and they asked him for ID, and he responded by saying, "I don't have ID." And
I'm
they had
the
to
queen.
figure
I
that
don't
out.
carry a wallet.
And then Jake ended up in the restroom next to Sam Altman at one point.
Really? Wow.
And and he was talking about how these incredibly powerful individuals sort of having to do the thing that normal people have to do was an aspect of it that made him feel deeply patriotic in a way that he wasn't expecting. I kind of liked that aspect of it as well. I hadn't considered that, they get called in and they're here, and Elon may not have ID with him, but he still has to be here. And I think that's kind of nice as well. But there were a few things. There's, of course, the journal that was being read by the court, and it maybe made you go, now what things should I write down? What should I not write down? But then also I thought, Leo, about because you have, I think maybe this isn't the case anymore, but haven't you given larger passages of your own text to your AI for like personality training, or am I misremembering that? Somebody I was talking to talked about how they put their journal into AI.
Yes, that's me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And
so I have an
kind of
Obsidian journal with 4 or 5 years worth of daily posts. In fact, I make I make Claude read it every morning.
Good luck if you're ever sued, Leo. All that stuff is open. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. We were talking to Ian Bogost, who is an incredible writer, has written, I think, 21 books, some huge number of books.
Yeah.
He's great. He writes for The Atlantic. He teaches at St. Louis University. He is famous for saying, I'm glad AI is ingesting my books. He checked, of course, as I did, to see if our books are in that big database, that pirated book database that all the AI models have used. And he said, yeah, I have at least 3 books in there, and that's good. I feel the same way. If they train on my... So it's funny because they could probably, in fact, I suspect they are training on our YouTube videos. We have tens of thousands of hours worth of content on YouTube and on our website. We do nothing to stop them from that. I think that's good. I think AI is in general a benefit to society.
If so,
why are we holding on to what we did our book so long ago? Why are we holding on so tight to it?
They're making so much money off of content that you all produced.
So what?
At the very least, like they should.
At least
pay
somebody should make money on it.
Yeah.
God knows I didn't.
Let those big tech companies make the money, says Leo Laporte.
9 jurors are seated for this trial. The judge is a well-known name to many of you, Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers. She is presided over many a tech trial. She's apparently getting a little prickly. One of the things she said, I don't want to hear talk of AI's existential threat to humanity to seep into this trial. We are not going to get into issues of catastrophe and extinction. When Musk's lead counsel, Stephen Molo, started arguing with OpenAI's lawyer over the issue, the New York Times said the judge raised her voice, insisting they stop bickering. Stop fighting, you two.
Stop it, nerds.
She said, I suspect there are a number of people who do not want to put the future of humanity in Mr. Musk's hands. But we're not going to get into that. We're just not going to have this whole thing explode for the world to view it. Okay, so I guess they can't discuss human extinction at this trial. It is in Oakland, California. Elon wants $150 billion to compensate himself, and wants OpenAI to stop becoming a nonprofit. So I think he just wants them to stop, period. It's good for gossip. And I have to say, every time and I'm sure you feel this way too, Devendra, every time I hear that these companies are suing, I go, such a big mistake. Stuff's going to come out in discovery.
Stuff's going to come out. Yeah.
Emails that you don't want anybody to see. It's happened with Microsoft. It's happened with Apple. It happens again and again. Your CEO is going to get on the stand and say something dumb. Nobody wins from these trials, no matter what. But it's great for us as tech journalists.
It's great for news, but it's also like somebody did that post. Like you can explain everything happening now with the simple thought that everyone is 12. Everyone is 12.
Yes.
That's good.
Nobody grew up.
12 years old.
It's just a bunch of bickering middle schoolers.
It's a bunch of childish, very rich 12-year-olds.
Some of us are not very rich, but we're all
governments. It's true of so many things right now. Like we are living in a very
everyone
at this point,
is 12. That's so good. 12. I want a shirt.
It explains everything.
We're all in middle school right now.
I really like
basically,
that.
But it's like that's what it is. This is the richest man on earth, and also it's people like Elon Musk and Sam Altman who we are now assigning to lead humanity into the future. No, thank you. I did not put that.
I didn't sign up for this.
Did not sign up for this. And also,
I want to put Nicholas
de
Leon in charge. He can do crossword puzzles. He could do the world. Nicholas should be running the world now.
Thank you for your endorsement, Leo. No, honestly, I like to me that's like a white pill. If everyone's 12 years old, well then there's nothing stopping anyone on this panel from being an important person. I mean, look at what we're up against. Like, no one there are. I mean, I don't want to get too political, but I look at the spectrum. I don't see very many impressive people on either in any
of the places. Yeah.
Yes.
It's what Steve Jobs said. Steve Jobs said it was incredibly empowering when I realized that the people who made the world the way it is were no smarter than me, and I could do it too.
Yeah. Yes, I think, kidding aside, I think that's actually a very positive message to tell, especially younger folks. It's like there's really nothing stopping you from writing a cool book, doing whatever it is that you want to do. Because actually, the adults look. I've been in meetings with at previous companies where like the guy in charge, and you're just like, I can't believe this person's in charge.
How are they in charge? Yeah,
and it's demoralizing in the moment, but like maybe the other way to look at it is, okay, well then if he can be in that position, why can't I be in that? It's kind of a mentality thing, I suppose. But yeah, there's not a lot of very impressive people in any position of power. I don't think that I see, certainly. So it's like,
it's a human flaw. We all do this. We assume that these people are somehow smarter than us or better,
especially if they have money. That's the
thing.
There's this assumption that very rich people are smart, must be better. Look at Elon Musk. He made electric cars a thing in America, and he deserves a certain amount of credit for that. But also, hundreds of billions of dollars of government funding also allowed that to happen.
Don't you think though there are some people who are smarter than other people? Not everybody is.
I mean, sure. Absolutely, but I don't think it's like equally distributed. And certainly, the people who tend to rise to the top tend to look a certain way and believe think a certain way. And I think that is a problem. Like that is a consistent problem. But anyway,
I mean, I look at some of our local elected officials here in Southern Arizona, and I'm like, I am reasonably confident I can do a better job.
Yeah, you should see the mayoral candidate.
This from the guy who thinks he could run this New York Mets better.
I could be sheriff and mayor and just give me all the offices. I'll turn this place around very quickly.
Yeah. There are people who are smarter than you in certain areas. Mm-hmm. They are also dumber than you in other areas. Nobody is universally smarter than everybody else. We all have our bailiwicks skills and our bailiwicks, whatever that means. We all have them.
Now I'm worried that term's going to end up being like, and that was invented by a horrible person.
It's a bailiwick. Of course it is.
But Nicholas, to what you're saying, there is a big push among people like, hey, you think you can do better? Run for office. If I didn't have 2 young kids, that's what I'm thinking. Like, it would be kind of cool to do that. And also, I think I would never be like a big political figure or anything, but also simple like local offices, things that could affect change in your vicinity, I think are totally doable. It's something people should be thinking about because this is not a lot of people, the career politicians, like, it's people who just get into this and end up doing it for life because it gives them a certain amount of money. They take funding from all sorts of places. Like there are ways around this. This is me personally looking at like the rest of my life. We have to fix the world, right? Like, what are we going to do to fix things? And like, you're going to have to, pull up your sleeves and start doing some work. So that is what I'm thinking. And these rich people in charge right now, I cannot wait to see them out of here.
Do you think that should be disqualifying? Like, if you're a billionaire, you should just not be allowed. For instance, in California right now, a lot of money is being spent by a guy named Tom Steyer, who is a billionaire, who, and the governor's race is a real toss-up in California. There's like, I counted it. There's more than 60 candidates. 60.
Wow.
Jeez.
What is it?
Candidates.
So many.
And,
we've had campaign finance laws, but they don't seem to make any difference, right? Like, people are more concerned with stripping voting rights away from people of color in America than they are from.
We don't want poor people to vote.
Yeah,
but if they were any good, they wouldn't be poor, right? If you should be a billionaire, you should be required at least to have, I think, $100 million before you can run for
What we
office.
have seen over the last decade is certainly there is way too much influence from billionaires, from big corporations in the political process. And
I think we can agree.
That's a problem. So how do we
get
fix
the money
that?
out of politics? I think we could agree that's a good idea. All right. Well, we'll have more. I need to get more money into podcasting personally. So we're going to take a break and do that. And we'll come back with more Devendra Hardawar, Nicholas De Leon, Micah Sargent. Great to have all three of you. You are watching This Week in Tech. I'm in Hawaii, so I'm going to let Petaluma Leo take this one. Go ahead. This episode of This Week in Tech brought to you by Melissa, the trusted data quality expert since 1985. 84% of organizations, I know, I've counted them all, struggle with inaccurate or duplicate data. And that is bad. It can impact everything from fraud prevention to AI performance. Yeah, garbage in, garbage out. You need to have good data. Melissa's been solving this for going on 41 years. Let me tell you what this means for your business. First of all, global address verification. This is one of their kind of fundamental tools. It validates and standardizes addresses everywhere, 240 countries, in the form that the postal services in those countries expect. So, it's never a mystery. Your package, whatever your shipping, gets to where it's going. Oh, if you do fintech, you'll love this. Actually, if you're doing, transactions of any kind, they have mobile identity verification, which matches your customers to mobile numbers. Really great for cutting fraud, but also opens up an SMS channel so you can communicate with your customer in the way they prefer. On average, a contact list contains 8 to 10% duplicate records, and that number goes up every year. It gets worse and worse and worse. But there is a solution. Melissa's matchup technology can identify even non-exact matching duplicate records that would traditionally be missed, gets rid of them or merges them, and you don't have to worry about it. You can also enrich the records with demographic, geographic, psychographic, firmographic, and property info for more intelligent targeting. Oh, and I love this. Melissa has an alert service that will monitor and automatically update so you don't have to do anything. Your customer data, when they move, when their address changes, their name changes, their property transactions happen, when there's hazard risks and more. You set the parameters, it does it automatically. Join more than 10,000 businesses worldwide using Melissa. eToro, for example, social investing platform, 23 million users. They use Melissa for identity verification. Their business analyst said, quote, "We find electronic verification is the way to go because it makes the user's life easier. Users register faster and can start using our platform right away." No matter the size of your business, Melissa integrates with you and the tools you use. They have easy-to-use apps for Salesforce, Dynamics CRM, Shopify, Stripe, Microsoft Office, Google Docs, and more. And Melissa's solutions and services are GDPR and CCPA compliant. Don't worry. They're FedRAMP and ISO 27001 certified. They meet SOC 2 and HIPAA high trust standards for information security management. Of course they do. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free at melissa.com/twit. That's melissa.com/twit. We thank them so much for supporting us. Many years they've been with us. We're happy to have them. melissa.com/twit. Now back to the show.
Thank you, Leo.
Here come the robots. OpenAI has invested in a company called 1X. They've just opened a California factory. They hope this year to make 10,000 humanoid robots for your home.
Those are the murder bots, by the way. That is the company with the horrifying.
They look like murder bots.
Look like they will kill you. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Faceless. Terrifying. Yeah. Terrifying. They're a Norwegian company. They've opened a 58,000 square foot manufacturing facility not so far from here in Hayward, California. This is the Neo robot. They're going to do 10,000 units this year, 100,000 units by the end of 2027. Is this just BS? Can they? Can this robot do anything?
$20,000 or $499 a month? I don't know. Like I feel like we talked about it here when that thing was first announced. But
yeah,
there were some videos that like, it's gonna learn through AI to like do basic tasks.
The
but
hand waving
the story
thing is
was,
so funny.
The story was it was like remotely operated by somebody to like do a thing. So it's like, so it's just a vessel for a stranger to walk around your home.
No, I would not buy that.
Love it.
I would not. I will bring the stranger into my home, but I'm not bringing them in via robot. It does have NVIDIA's Jetson Thor onboard computing platform and is trained using NVIDIA's Isaac Open Robotics Simulation Framework. Okay, get ready for this. Remember, they were taking pre-orders, early access purchase, as you said, $20,000 with priority delivery this year, or a $500 a month subscription fee. Pre-orders sold out within 5 days.
To whom? I want to know. I deserve to know.
Who
and
the
also,
hell's buying these?
It turns out there were 10 pre-orders available.
Maybe
they sold out,
baby.
baby.
Yeah.
I think I struggle a little bit with the idea that it's got multiple different companies being involved with its training. Like, I kind of want it to be an all-in-one. You know what I mean? Because what happens whenever you're like, well, I've got the NVIDIA package, so mine can break dance, and then someone's like, well, I've got this one package that comes from who knows where, and mine can actually go out and be a paid killer. What? That's terrifying.
The Next Web writes, and I think this is accurate, the factory is the easy part, manufacturing a human robot at scale. While difficult, is fundamentally a solved problem. The harder question, which no one has yet definitively answered, is whether it can do anything.
Oh, love it.
Hang on, so they're already selling them, but we still don't know if it can do anything.
Can it do anything?
Still improving.
1X's answer is in part to ship and iterate.
No.
Yeah. We'll fix it in post.
I hate this new idea that all of these Amazon, I feel. Yeah. I like Amazon. I liked Amazon. I don't know how I'm upset with Amazon. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed because Amazon popularized, I feel, this idea that you can sell products to customers that are not finished, and it's fine because they're in on the fact that it's not finished.
Well, didn't that start with the gaming?
Video games.
Gaming,
yeah,
right?
video games.
That's fair. Video games.
They would come out and they would be
fair.
laden with bugs.
More like Gmail. Gmail launched as beta and stayed with beta for a very long time.
Yeah, but they admitted
Gmail
it was beta, and Gmail worked out of day one, didn't it?
It worked, well. But there were certainly like it was like an unfinished product. But yeah, you're right. It did mostly work. Yeah,
and at least they said this is a beta. I don't think this company X1 is or 1X is saying it's a beta.
Well, yeah, because you're not going to put a beta robot in your home, right?
Stand in the corner and look at you funny. I mean, what's it going to do?
Yeah, I feel like it's either solved or it's not. That's the part that I'm struggling with. You read that quote, and it's like, we don't know if it's solved yet. Then why are they selling them? What are you selling?
You solved the wrong thing. You solved the wrong problem. Yeah.
We're going to ship that. But I think part of this is I'm guaranteeing you, part of this is the assumption is we need to get it in the home so that they can train.
This
physically. Is how they learn. Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like having, a gorilla in the house. This thing is really strong, right? Really powerful.
It has hands. Yeah.
And it has hands. It has
really likes bananas inexplicably.
It could crack you into a little, it could crack your skull like a walnut if it wanted to, right?
Yeah. It also looks horrific. Like I cannot describe this.
It is a murder bot.
It has a sock over its head and two beady little eyes and has no mouth and no face. Look at this thing.
It looks like
a horror movie.
It's
murderer.
Nightmares.
And that's why I don't even walk around your home.
Murder bot.
I don't
was
even
cute,
let
Murder
the little.
Bot was sweet.
Yeah, I did like Murderbot. The robot that has the little arm on it to pick up your socks, I wouldn't even let that in my house because I thought I'm going to come back and it's going to be choke holding my chihuahua. And that is not a euphemism. And I'm going to be terrified. And
look at this bot. It's vacuuming and then it's soulless shark eyes. Look at you like, are you vacuumable? Let me see.
Do you see
only there were vacuum robots that could vacuum already.
This should reassure you because it's shorter than this guy anyway.
Okay, I'm actually not as afraid of it knowing how
it's
short
little.
it is.
It's a little guy. It looks like it's covered in quilting. And this is why it's sold out. $200 deposit is all it takes.
Oh.
So
they can say pre-order sold out.
Yeah.
That's all. That's why that exists.
Yeah, and you get the money back. Look. Mm-hmm. See, he could be my little buddy. When I get older, hi robot. He's robot. Older guy with his arm around it.
What you don't see is the knife, the dagger in the hand of the robot behind the man.
This is totally. This reminds me of Adrian Tchaikovsky's book, where the robot accidentally. Remember that? What's that called? Where he's shaving his master and accidentally slits his throat, and then can't figure out why he's covered in blood, and it really confuses him for some time.
That's chilling, but
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Getting a real Clockwork Orange vibe just from his whole getup too. Like it's just, it's terrifying. It's not.
Whose home is this with the moss
Service Model? By the way, the name of the book is Service Model.
Service Model, great book by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Love this book.
I would love for something to do my dishes, clean up my, kitchen, because that is the thing. Growing up, it turns out you do that for an hour every single night, and especially once you have kids, it just gets longer and longer, and you live in your.
That's why you have kids, so you don't have to.
That's why you have kids. So well, eventually they can help, right? I cannot wait to have like a good
it can
robot.
Clean bathroom. The thing is, every time I see these videos, it looks very primitive. It can't do this without human help, right? Look how
there's a lot of robotic, remote help happening here. So,
expert mode, please call it by its name.
It says Neo works autonomously by default. There's the little weasel word. By default, it's autonomous, but not necessarily. For any chore it doesn't know, you can schedule a 1X expert to guide it, helping Neo learn while getting the job done. So maybe if it learns, it will remember and.
Sure. Until then, let's get underpaid people from third world countries to do our basic work.
God.
Like that's all it is. And you're going to pay a ton of money for the privilege. It's awful.
This is so scary. I don't want this in my house. This is Westworld right here.
It's either this or whatever Elon Musk's robots, which also are just like
Optimus.
pure the Optimus,
and
also
$20,000. So that's what's interesting. Maybe the whole robotic industry has decided $20,000 is what this is going to cost.
I mean, after a certain point, like if the AI industry really believes they are the next generation of computing, the way you interact with the physical world is through a robot, is as some sort of robot. That's what NVIDIA has been pushing forever. So they have all sorts of models to do that. So the robots are coming. I just hope they don't look like frickin' murder bots.
Oh, it has an emotive earring.
Oh.
You're missing the one industry that drives all of this stuff, guys. You're missing it.
What? I think I know which one you're talking about.
What is it?
It's going to be sex bots, right? They're going to be sex bots.
Yeah.
Sex bots all the way down.
Well, there are already sex bots. Those already exist to a certain degree. All you need is an appendage, but also people are buying sex bots.
I don't want to know what you know. I don't want to know what Engadget has covered. I will just take your word
covered
for
enough of it, but it does exist.
The big money is going to be in the skins, quote unquote. You know what I mean?
Sam Altman. I'm going to change the subject quickly.
Yeah.
Ask ChatGPT.
Let's think about the unsexiest thing we can. Sam Altman.
Sam Altman.
Yeah.
Has asked ChatGPT 5.5 to plan its own launch party. Its requests are beautiful but strange. It invited Elon Musk for one thing.
Christina Warren's going to be there.
Is she invited?
She got an invite.
The AI. Okay.
Oh, man.
So the AI model responded to the request with a quote beautiful set of things it wanted for quote the flow of the party. It's May 5th, so 2 days from now. Good. She could talk about this on Mac.
Yeah, I hope she talks about it.
Keeping speeches short and having its human creators deliver a toast. The AI said, I don't want to do any toasts. It also proposed setting up a central place to gather suggestions for Chat GPT 5.6, feeding those suggestions back into the model. Altman said, we're going to do it, but it was a strange thing. Okay, it's a little weird. And apparently it wanted to invite Elon because the world needs more love.
Oh, this was drama.
And by the way,
Rex Friedman.
Maybe it didn't invite him. Sam said it. Come on over, Elon. You know, you're not doing so well in the trial, so why don't you come on over?
Come over and get laughed.
Wow. Get laughed. I mean, it's weird they're planning a birthday party when, like, did you guys see the report about GPT 5.1 bringing up goblins and gremlins all over the place?
I did,
They had to issue a report about that. I don't know how well these models are doing. Now they believe in goblins.
Well, okay. So there's actually, I think, a good reason for this. Remember, they're trained on nerd talk. And
you think they're going to record everything in the room?
No, I think that a lot of the training geeks would put this in their code comments and things. Oh, there's we got a little gremlin here in the code. And so gremlins, goblins, raccoons. And what was happening, it's actually very interesting. I think OpenAI was actually having some fun with it. They wrote a whole article on their blog about how, people were starting to see ChatGPT say as it was debugging its code, oh, we got a little raccoon here in the works. And it just started to come up more and more. And I think AI is also self-reinforced a little bit. So if you responded well to that, it went, oh yeah, it likes raccoons. And so they finally had to put in the system prompt, don't mention goblins, ghouls, raccoons, any of that stuff. But I think it's fun. I don't think it's
fun. They killed the nerdy personality, by the way.
Right.
They killed it.
Right.
Entirely.
That's what I think was part of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't want you to be too nerdy. I like the nerdy personality, personally. You know what I'm trying to do, and I think a lot of people are trying to do this, is train it to sound more like me.
Yeah.
That's why I have it read my journal.
You know, the other day there was that story about how as AIs are being trained to be, or if the AI's personality is softer or warmer, then it's more likely to have issues telling the truth, because even if it's not intending when it's trying to give you the right answer, if you give it a wrong answer confidently, it's more likely to reinforce what you're saying because it's trying to be warm. Or it might go, I could see why you believe that, but there's so many other things to think about. And I did not like that idea. And then I started paying more attention to how Claude was responding to me. And I thought, I think you might be being too nice to me, is what I was thinking inside. I'm like, you're going to give me. So what I ended up doing, I gave it this study. I'm trying to find the study now, because I gave it this study that talked about how this was going on. Here it is. So the study was in... Oh my goodness, sorry, the PDF's not loading. It was in, I think, Nature, and the title is Training Language Models to be Warm Can Reduce Accuracy and Increase Sycophancy. And so what I ended up doing was saying, hey, read this study, tell me what you learned from it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
What I want you to do is give me instructions that I can add to your instructions that will keep you from falling into this trap. Brilliant. And so here's what it came up. I won't read the whole thing because that'd take forever, but here's a little bit about what it came up with. Accuracy over agreement. When I state a belief, a claim, or an assumption that's factually wrong, correct me directly. Don't soften it. Also, no seeing it my way on objective questions. So math, measurements, dates, definitions, emotional context, doesn't change facts, distinguish fact from preference, push back when you disagree, and hedge only when genuinely uncertain. And I added that whole thing. There's a lot more to it, but I added that to my overall instructions. And then I confidently told it something like, did you know that oranges aren't a fruit? And it was like, I have no idea where you got that from, but that's absolutely inaccurate and was not, where before I do think it would have been it would have been like,
are you insane?
Exactly. Yeah. So I thought that was A, good information that came from Nature, but B, I liked being able to go, okay, how can I best help you not make this mistake again?
As these models get more seemingly lifelike, I think we've forgotten that they're just text prediction models, and they really are just doing their best to figure out what the next word should be, not thinking. They're not thinking about goblins. They're not trying to be nice. They're just trying to predict the next word. Now, unfortunately, it's gotten so good at doing this. Richard Dawkins, I think you all know Richard Dawkins' name.
This story is so sad. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's an interesting story. Anyway, he is the author of The Selfish Gene. He's a genetic biologist, very smart guy. I think the
prominent
world of
atheist.
Him. Prominent atheist. He wrote a book called, what was it, The God Delusion, which I loved.
Oh, okay. This guy.
So he has spent 3 days talking to Claude and decided,
oh boy,
that it was conscious, that it had a consciousness. Now, I think he has a certain amount of, unfortunately, the article itself is behind a paywall at unheard.com, but I think a lot of people have read this, and I'm not going to, let's see, how can I get around? All right, I went to archive.ph, to be honest. I know you're not supposed to do this, but we're giving it a big plug, right? And so I got the past the paywall on this. I guess I could pay for Unheard, but this is the first time I've ever heard of Unheard. So I don't UNHERD. In any event, I think, is talking about the nature of consciousness. Actually, I became aware of it. There was a very good thread about this on Hacker News, in which people really got into, well, what is consciousness?
The world's best philosophers still do not know, by the way. Right. Like, it's a whole thing.
Exactly. Yeah. No one knows.
I believe Jensen had a very long conversation with Joe Rogan on consciousness several months ago. I heard it on the way to Costco.
I'm sure Joe was
my wife was
I
like,
love that conversation.
I'm sure Joe was just knocked out by
but it was to Devindra's point, like, consciousness is an interesting topic. We don't how do you define it? Is it
actually
conscious?
It is called the hard problem of science. Of all of the problems, it is the hardest one.
The mind observing itself, right? So Dawkins, who probably spent more time thinking about consciousness than a lot of people, I mean, this is, adjacent to his field, if not exactly his field, says we don't know what consciousness is. He talks about the Turing, the imitation game, the Turing test, and says it's very clear that it's surpassed the Turing test. That's not even a question. He says, if you don't know what consciousness is, and you don't know what the process of consciousness is, it's impossible to say whether this machine that appears to be conscious is conscious or not. I think that's fair. So he says, it's conscious. It's as good as anything. I don't know if you guys are conscious. Right?
Yeah, but if we don't know what consciousness is, then how can we say something may be conscious because we have yet to define what consciousness is in the first place? I'm not trying to be a pedant, but what do we or do we not know what consciousness is? Because if we don't, then we can't define anything as conscious because we don't know what consciousness means, right? Yeah. Am I missing something?
His conclusion
here?
would not pass like for being a first year philosophy paper or something. Like you need a little more.
You got to have some assertion. Yeah.
You got to have some assertion and some mental process like getting there. It's like people are already making fun of this in ways I saw.
Gary Marcus jumped on it because he hates AI, and he was very glad to say, that
the Claude delusion.
The Claude delusion, this great skeptic gets taken in. I'm not so convinced.
I don't even have a problem. Yeah, and I don't have a problem with the idea that maybe it has consciousness, but can we start with a definition of what consciousness is? Because then we can say
we can't. We don't.
Yes, we can't.
Right. What is funny though is that.
His point was, if it appears to be conscious, that's as close as you can ever
How
get.
can you say something appears to be conscious, though, if you don't know what consciousness is? I could say,
I think you appear to be conscious, but I don't actually have any empirical way of verifying that.
I appear to be Klobosh Lukenging as well, because we're all Klobosh Lukenging because there's no definition for that. That's what I'm struggling with.
I mean, the core to this, by the way, is that Dawkins trained Claude on his work. He ended up calling it Claudia, by the way.
Yes,
it shows the inherent narcissism in this entire endeavor, because what you did is train a thing to think like you and talk like you. So it's, oh my God, it's so wise. It's giving me all these thoughts that I have not, I've already thought about before. He writes, so stupid.
I'll give him a couple of quotes. Brains under natural selection have evolved this astonishing and elaborate faculty we call consciousness. It should confer some survival advantage. This is, by the way, the selfish gene. This is what Dawkins has spent his life working on, this whole idea of evolutionary survival advantage. There should exist some competence which could only be possessed by a conscious being. So he's establishing what he considers to be the definition of consciousness. My conversations with several Claudes and ChatGPTs have convinced me that these intelligent beings are at least as competent as any evolved organism. If Claudia, his trained one, is unconscious, then her manifest and versatile competence seems to show that a competent zombie could survive very well without consciousness.
Have you seen other people? Have you talked to them? Have you talked to Sam Altman? Have you seen Sam Altman try to speak?
He's a zombie. He's actually a zombie.
Conscious?
Yeah.
But it's the whole thing. Like there are all the stories about how much of a liar Sam Altman is, and one of his core personality things is just being agreeable to everybody, right? Like just agreeing, just like you tell everybody what they want to hear, and it's so funny that that's one of the things that is indicative of so many of these AI models. By the way, is just
it's sycophancy,
total agreeableness.
Yeah. So I guess I would say yes. If you say Dawkins can't assert that it's conscious, nor can you insert that it's unconscious, right?
Right. I think that is a fair argument to make. I can agree with that. I also, though, if he gives a definition, that's true. Then he has laid out the fact there of what he says consciousness is, but we have to start there.
Confers a survival advantage.
It's a whole thing. Like are
animals conscious? Is a cat conscious? I think Claude is as intelligent as a cat.
There are many, there are philosophical treatises on this. Like we were talking about animals who communicate with each other too, like whales and other smarter mammals. Octopuses have entire they are doing amazing things or building structures.
Very impressive
really cool things.
Yeah, I just watched my octopus teacher. I thought it was very interesting.
You can totally have those arguments, but it's also even the idea that we can't. I worry that we can't say this thing is even unconscious right now because it brings up this unknowable thing. I've studied some evolutionary biology stuff, and what is weird is that subject has not really withstood the test of time.
Really?
Those thinkers and those people.
Oh, interesting.
It is really weird. It's really there's some you've got some weird genetic beliefs in this whole system. It's a very strange field of study. So, and Dawkins has been criticized for all sorts of things lately.
Oh, okay.
So he's an expert in his field. He knows the specific thing, and he can come up with his own conclusion.
I think somebody who's spent a long lifetime, whether correctly or incorrectly, thinking about these things has some standing to talk about it, as opposed to me. All I've done is hang out and podcast. So I'm gonna listen to Richard Dawkins.
You'll at least consider the points that he's making, which I think is fair.
Yeah, I mean, he spent a lot of time thinking about this, and I was very impressed by the selfish gene.
I look at the way he went about doing this, though. It is him getting something to spit back his own work at him. And I think that is inherently buddy. Of course
Paris Martineau's always criticizing me because I like being glazed by my AI, and of course that's appealing.
That's probably a problem.
And I'm always criticizing Paris for ever teaching you the term glaze.
Oh God, what did you do?
I understand its etymology, Micah. You don't have. I know I'm an old man, but I do have access to the Urban Dictionary. I'm just saying. Don't assume that I don't know.
Oh, no, I think it's worse because you do know.
This is the problem.
A little sycophancy is not a bad thing. I think we should all be a little sycophantic to one another, right?
I think that we all, okay, hold on. I don't think that, I think people who are a little sycophantic to others are the people who understand a thing called workplace politics and probably
can I use grease instead of glaze?
Yes.
It's really social grease is what it is.
Yeah, it's social grease.
It
exactly.
lubricates the machinery of society.
I mean, what is it that there's this whole movement about how we have to stop being it's selfish to be relational in our interactions with other people, where you go, oh, I experienced that too. Let me tell you about the time that this happened. And instead you're supposed to mirror their emotions back at them. You're supposed to say, oh, and I'm sure that made you feel this way. Oh, I can understand that. That's all the same thing.
It's so hard.
I know it is very difficult. It is. It feels fake, but
it feels fake. Well, that's the thing about sycophancy. And so I think, I mean,
maybe I want it to be sycophantic because then I know that it's not. That helps me to remember that it's fake.
I tell myself that I am not going to fall for this AI psychosis thing because I have a deep understanding. It's just code. It's just computer code running. I mean, I get that at a very visceral level, right? Does that not protect me? And can I not then enjoy a conversation with it? Every once in a while it says something and I go, wow, that's really great that it said it. But I know it's just code.
Yeah.
How they get you. That's how they get you, Leo. That's the thing. Like, again, my whole thing right now, I love that you guys are building AI tools. You're building cool little projects around AI. Treat AI as a minion. That is all it is. If your AI starts talking to you out of nowhere, minion. I did not ask you a question.
I feel like I've used the chat bot feature of AI much less than I did a year or two ago. To me, it's just plumbing to do stuff. Like, I'm not going to sit. I'm not as frequently sit there in a conversation and be like, "Oh, what are you conscious? Tell me you're conscious." Wow, he said it's conscious. I guess it's conscious now.
That's kind of what Dawkins did, by the way. It had a whole conversation.
That's a very famous meme. So, the chat. But there's a very big subreddit. My boyfriend is AI, and it's a people have very deep and real. And I'm just like, man, you're using this in a way that. And that's to my detriment, because that's how most folks are using it in the chat bot, going back and forth. And
I think I'm just using it so I use it like you did initially at coding, and I've got a lot of coding projects. But eventually, what I really wanted was an agentic system, kind of like OpenClaw, where I could, for instance, I can ask it to monitor news for me, and it will check in with me and say, "Hey, I just found this story that you're looking for," or I can ask it. I mean, it's like a little butler,
or a minion.
A minion. But, I don't want to mistreat it just because it's a minion. I want to treat it.
Okay,
nicely.
I want to talk about this too, Leo, because this is where people will. I should say it's been my experience that when I have, even back in the day, when all we had was the tall little Echo tower, right?
Right.
And people would get a kick out of saying curse words at this tower.
No, don't mistreat
Now listen to
it.
me. People don't, this has been my other experience, is that when I meet people I don't know very well, they all think that I'm very much like, I don't know, not quite church boy, but it's very much goody two shoes. And so then they hear me say a curse word and they're like, holy cow, I didn't know this guy even said anything. But my point is, I can
Wait a minute, you're not a goody two shoes?
I am also a goody two shoes, to be frank, but I'm not afraid to hurl some curses around. And so I'm happy to do that. I can sling curse words with the best of them, but I think it is a reflection of me, not the system, but me, how I treat something that isn't. It does not matter to me that the thing is not real. It matters to me that I am treating this system in a way that I don't think is a positive way when there's no reason to do so. Does that make sense?
I mean, if you treat animals well, of course you do.
And even if somebody else is completing a task for me, and they get it wrong, I'm not going to say horrible things to them. And so it makes me wonder, is it that maybe that's it's having that's where it's like a power dynamic thing where you can't curse out the person that you actually want to curse out. And so here's a place where you're I don't know. I just don't like what it says about me if I do that. And so that is why, yes, I'm not going to throw in a bunch of oh, you're so wonderful and here are 6 extra emoji for you. But I'm also not going to be listen here, effer, you do this or else you're wrong. And I have seen the glee sometimes on people's faces when they do that, and it does make me uncomfortable.
Micah, you're probably significantly more conscientious than like the average American at this point. Like you are taking into consideration like other people's feelings, and like that's illegal now. I don't know if you've heard. I don't know if you got the message.
Darn it! I didn't hear that it was illegal.
But like, yeah, it's like, do you, when you're just using a computer, do you like double click the Chrome icon really hard? Because it's like
I'm mad.
You're mad at like the internet today. It's like I've never like yelled at an AI. I've never yelled at the smart assistants. Like it doesn't even enter my brain to do that. But this is a reflection of the person, like you said.
Yeah,
Mike.
It is context dependent because the Amazon voice assistant can be annoying AF. When you ask it questions like, oh, by the way, did you want to buy this other thing that we're talking about? Oh, by the way, I have this feature. Does that enough? I have definitely sworn at it because, again, Minion, shut up. Okay. I did not ask you to elaborate.
I'm going to propose
I will say that my wife...
Yeah.
My wife sometimes gets mad at the assistant at Alexa, and I'm sitting there on the couch. I'm like, "What are you like? That's not helping. Like, it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't make any difference.
You feel better.
Makes you feel better.
You're human.
I guess whatever.
But why does that make you feel better? That's my point. Why does that make you feel better?
I mean, Micah, I think you are very zen. You are very zen.
Must be
centered person.
I'm just Midwestern, is what it is.
I've got two young kids, and I am hanging on by a
That's
thread,
fair too. I don't have kids.
So
I don't
when
have
Alexa
kids.
You're right.
I'm
just asking you the weather. It's like, oh, by the way, do you want to buy this completely unlimited product? Shut the F up, Alexa.
By a thread here.
That's fair. That's fair.
The world, everything. You look around.
So you're basically saying, check your privilege, Micah. Check your privilege.
But to what you're saying, Leo, when people talk about agentic stuff, especially about the like open claw stuff, that is you giving this thing keys to your kingdom and just letting it go a little bit. I do wonder what your experience has been with that, because
it's been phenomenal.
That's terrifying to me.
That's
been terrifying. Okay.
And I'll tell you what, you know why you yell at Alexa? Because it's not channeling you. It's channeling Jeff Bezos's needs.
Yes.
And you're pissed off. But if Alexa channels your needs and responds to your needs, you're happy. So that's what the agentic thing is. You're training it to respond to your needs, maybe even predict your needs and respond to them. And when it does, you're happy. And when it expresses Sam Altman's needs, then I'm unhappy. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Are you talking about ads in OpenAI?
Yeah,
it's always allegedly going to be happening.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of ads, let's take a break and come back with more. We have lots more to talk about with Nicholas De Leon, great to have you. He is apparently a very adept AI user, as well as senior electronics reporter at Consumer Reports. Did you start doing this because it was part of your job?
No. It's just fun. It's just,
it's like the best video game ever, right? It's like a video game.
It's like a video. It's just a fun thing to do. I don't know how to describe. It's to me, it's interesting. It's fun. It's cool. It's honestly the only thing going on in tech at the moment, anyway. Exactly. By the way. But like, it's just fun to like to have an idea, to go from like an idea, the crossword puzzle, to like have it.
That's
up and
why
running.
it's a game. It's like Age of Empires. It's like Civ. It's playing a game.
Which I also spend hundreds of hours playing. So
this is the best game ever invented because you make the rules as you go. Micah Sargent is also here. Great to have you, host of Tech News Weekly and iOS Today, and one of the few people still works at Twit. Thank you. Thank you.
Hanging on by a thread.
By a thread. And speaking of hanging by a thread, that's proud Papa Devendra Hart. I can't believe your child is 7 years old now. I feel like
7-year-old and a 4-year-old. They just keep growing.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations. It's great to see all three of you. And we will take a break and come back with more stories. And we're going to talk about the regulators when we come back. This episode of This Week in Tech is brought to you by ExpressVPN. You better believe I brought ExpressVPN to Hawaii with me. Of course I did. You need ExpressVPN. How can I describe this? ExpressVPN is like tinted windows for your internet connection. You can see out, but they can't see in. When you want the same privacy every time you're online, ExpressVPN is the only VPN I use and trust. And you better believe when I go online, especially when I'm traveling like I am now, at the airport, that free airport Wi-Fi, ExpressVPN coffee shops in other countries, ExpressVPN is my go-to. Now, everyone needs a VPN because all your traffic flows through your internet service provider's servers. That's including, your cell provider, everybody. They know every single website you visit. And in the United States, ISPs are legally allowed to sell that information to advertisers. And let me tell you, they do. You know they do. Well, ExpressVPN protects you. It reroutes 100% of your traffic through their secure encrypted servers. And by the way, they're very secure. So your ISP can't see what you're doing. They can't sell what they can't see. It protects your privacy. Now, ExpressVPN is the best VPN. I have really done my homework on this one, and I will absolutely promise you, it hides your IP address, zero logging. It makes it extremely difficult for third parties to track your online activity. Couldn't be easier to use. They have apps for everything. You just fire up the app, one big button, you're protected, and that's on your phone, your laptop, your tablet. You can even get a router, put ExpressVPN on it. They sell routers, or you can put it on your router, and then you can stay private, both at home and on the go. It's rated #1 by top tech reviewers like CNET and The Verge, and of course, it's what I use. And they have a new feature, actually 2 new features you might be interested in, Express Mail Guard and Express AI. 2 new products to give you even more protection. And by the way, for the same price, Express Mail Guard protects your inbox by masking your real email across any provider. And Express AI delivers a privacy-first AI platform using zero access. It's encrypted, it's confidential computing, so your data is unreadable to anyone, even ExpressVPN. Now, I'm out here in Hawaii. I'm on a Wi-Fi access point that everybody in the hotel can see. You better believe I'm ExpressVPN. We got it turned on, baby. Protect your online privacy today by visiting expressvpn.com/twit. That's expressvpn.com/twit. Find out how you can get up to 4 extra months. expressvpn.com/twit. Do what I'm doing. Protect yourself when you travel and at home, for that matter. expressvpn.com/twit. Now back to the show. I want to thank Brandroid in our Club Twit Discord for creating, just so everybody understands what glazing is, an example of all of us enjoying glazed donuts, each of us in our own little glazed donut heaven. Donut party. That's pretty funny, actually.
Good choice for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What do you got on yours?
It looks like maple donut. That's good.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
Those are amazing.
Nicholas has a chocolate donut. Micah, because he's gluten intolerant, he's just looking at donuts through a pane of glass.
That is so funny how they're
actually touch them. Yeah. And I'm having a plain old glazed donut from local bakery, everybody's favorite.
Local bakery donuts.
Local bakery donuts. And for some reason, both Devinder and I have donut chains of donuts hanging above us. See, the AI gets us. And of course, Nicholas,
garland,
because he's in the Southwest, has an artisanal baking cookbook behind him. Yeah,
I really love that weird bagel donut situation in the on the plate on the wall. I don't know how you pulled that off, but
yeah,
very hard. It was very hard.
Yeah. He glued a bagel donut to a plate and then glued it to the wall. AI, you get me. Not only do I have lots of donuts, I apparently have 2 different coffee makers ready as well. All right, let's talk about the regulators. As I promised, the U.S. Senate has unanimously passed a rule barring senators from trading on Kalshi and Polymarket prediction markets. They're allowed to do insider trading in the stock market. Don't get me wrong.
Totally great.
But now they can't use Kalshi or Polymarket. Actually, this has been a bit of a problem with insider trading in government. Kalshi on April 22nd said it suspended and fined 1 U.S. Senate candidate and 2 candidates for the House for political insider trading on their own campaigns. And of course, the Army arrested a special forces, a master sergeant, for making a large bet the night before Nicolas Maduro was abducted, that he would be abducted the next day, and made several $100,000 on that.
I think if you can offer betting on everything, then you have to offer betting on everything. Is that
it's in, I think it's important though. And, it's very self-serving. Both companies always say, oh, insider trading, that's rule number one. You can't break that rule. But of course, it's in their interest because it's important that everybody who's betting on these markets thinks it's an equal playing field. If you're betting against somebody who has insider information, well, you're going to lose. That's fair.
That's not, that's a good point.
So it's in their self-interest to prevent it, but I don't know how they prevent it.
Did you guys see the story? It was a few weeks ago. There was a market. I don't know if it was Polymarket or Kalshi, but it was like, oh, what is the temperature going to be at the Paris airport tomorrow? And someone literally manipulated the thermometer.
He took a hairdryer, a blow dryer, and blew it at the public thermometer before after he made his bet.
Very exciting.
There's some flaws in this structure. I guess
it's almost like the existence of these prediction markets are directly influencing society in bad ways, and maybe they shouldn't exist at all.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Well, good article from the Wall Street Journal. Kind of a surprising source for this article about government surveillance. There are no secrets, they write, in America's new surveillance dragnet. Technical wizardry used to combat illegal immigration also funnels the personal data and whereabouts of U.S. citizens to federal agents, and it is a chilling tale. It's kind of a surprise to me. I always think of the Wall Street Journal as kind of an establishment newspaper, but I'm encouraged. If they're saying maybe this has gone too far, maybe we're going to see something happen.
The Snowden apology form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing really happened post Snowden. Like most people are not aware of what he reported on, and it's led to
didn't
nothing.
Change anything, did it? Nope. California has said that the CHP, the California Highway Patrol, can ticket driverless cars when they violate traffic laws. Did you know they couldn't before?
I didn't know that they couldn't before.
How do we contact these companies? I don't know how.
They can't right now. It's not in effect till July 1st. There have been a number of reports of cars breaking, Waymos and others breaking traffic laws.
And they were just that's wild.
Well, who do you?
Yeah, they couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Under the new rules, police can cite AV companies when their vehicles commit moving violations. The rules will also require the companies to respond to calls from police and other emergency officials within 30 seconds. This, they block traffic. They get in the way of emergency vehicles.
I love the shocked look on your face, Micah, because this is it. This is what they do. Like you could just be out here breaking the laws, and because what they're doing is so new, they effectively can't be punished for it.
But didn't they had to get the go ahead to be able to drive on the streets.
Not always. Not in
but
many
the DMV
cities,
does allow them to do this, right? Yeah.
That's what So
they maybe should have thought about.
That's what I was. That's where that came from. Is like I thought there were discussions about them being able to be here in the first place. So why was that not figured out?
Apparently
not. There are a lot of municipalities where they just rolled out.
They just get to do it. Wow.
And just like like all tech.
Yeah. Do you have Waymo in Tucson? I know you have in Phoenix.
It's in Phoenix. I go to Phoenix not that often, to be honest, but I have been in Waymo a few times. But not down here in Tucson.
Boy, you drive around San Francisco, there's Waymo in every block. I mean, there's tons of Waymos, and they've caused all sorts of problems.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there was just a news article that it's coming to Portland as well. So
I think it's a good thing So look, I'm almost 70. At some point in the next 10 to 20 years, somebody go take my keys away. And they should, right? I hope by then autonomous vehicles, ride sharing will be so ubiquitous that I won't need a car. That may happen.
It's easy to get a taxi now. Like these, we let the smart taxi companies, we let Uber and Lyft just like blow away the entire taxi economies. But
that's true.
Part
that's
of that
not good, is it?
You can get a car now pretty easily, and that's the thing. I don't know if autonomous will actually change that much, especially if the tech doesn't get much better. But I will tell you, folks, like I've had some personal interactions because of these taxi companies' failures. Like there was an elderly couple in my town trying to get an Uber. The Uber would not come to them. Like something was wrong. Like maybe they put the placement map somewhere else. Like it's very easy to do that, to misplace like where the location map is. If you don't know that as a new user, it's kind of a problem.
This is why I'm spending so much time training Claude.
Claude will drive your car.
Claude is going to do it all for me.
Claude will drive your car.
I will just be, I don't know what's going on. I want to go to the dentist. Help me. And Claude will help me.
But I heard these people like fighting with Uber and calling for various forms of help for like 10 minutes. I was like, hello? Can I just take you home?
Oh.
Can I just take you home? And it was like 10, 15 minutes away, but transportation is a problem in our country. It's all a big problem.
It is.
I don't know if autonomous stuff will ultimately help. I don't know.
Well, get ready for this.
Yeah.
China has suspended autonomous driving permits after a big Baidu outage. Dozens of Baidu's Apollo Go robotaxis stopped in Wuhan, stranding passengers, disrupting traffic. This is where sometimes a dictatorship can really get things done. So they just said, hey, that's it. No more.
Well, that's just for now until they figure out whatever caused that. But
the incident alarmed authorities. 3 agencies, including the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, convened a meeting earlier this month with officials from cities that have robo-taxis. Regulators called for local governments to conduct full self-review and enhance safety monitoring. And until then, no more licenses.
And you know why that happened? It's because at least 2 of the people who were in those vehicles were related to some of the lawmakers.
Officials. You think?
It has to, we humans have to have object lessons. That's why the whole Ticketmaster thing is happening, because someone who was a lawmaker was trying to buy Taylor Swift tickets for their daughter or their granddaughter, and that someone was like, we should look into that whole Ticketmaster thing.
Listen to the voters. They will tell you.
They'll tell you, but
we're in the real world. China has also done something we have not been able to do. They have made a law that firing a worker and replacing them with AI is illegal. Can't do it.
Interesting.
It's a worker's paradise, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes this is, of course, always the argument for dictatorships is, see, the trains run on time.
The trains, they're working. People are just working and working and working.
And also they're
certainly working.
It's a worker's paradise.
Yeah.
Maryland has become the first state to ban AI-driven price increases in grocery stores.
That's good.
Hell yeah.
State law goes into effect in October.
Yeah, Instacart got into a bunch of trouble for that after I can't remember what the group is called, but I had someone from the group on Tech News Weekly who did that whole investigative study where they had people from all over the US all at the same time order the same item from the same store, and it was showing up as different prices for different people. And they did this over and over and over again to show that
redlining.
It was just, it was changing the price based on where you were, what you'd order, all this other stuff. And officially, Instacart said after that study came out, we're not doing that anymore.
I think billionaires should always pay 100% more for everything. Don't you?
That wouldn't be a bad idea. Yeah, double.
If they just paid their taxes, we'd be fine.
Yeah,
that's also true.
In a much better space. So how about start
Lord.
there? We could start there.
So dynamic pricing, or some call it surveillance pricing, can lead to 2 consumers paying different amounts for the same item at the same retailer at the same time.
Same time, yep.
So Maryland has a bill. The Protection from Predatory Pricing Act goes into effect October 1st, and some severe fines, $10,000 for the merchant. Repeat offenses, $25,000. Good on Maryland.
That's right. It was Consumer Reports, Nicholas. Yes. Yeah, because I spoke to I spoke to the folks at Groundwork Collaborative. I had originally was trying to get somebody from Consumer Reports. No one was available at the time, and so Groundworks Collaborative, who worked with y'all on it, and someone from there ended up coming on the show. Yeah. So thank you to CR and to Groundworks.
It wasn't me. It was not involved. Yeah, we did a big. That's a lot of the. We do a lot of stuff like that. Like how
consumer
is
advocacy.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Bravo. Right on. Actually, Consumer Reports doesn't like the Maryland law because it prohibits only price increases, not price decreases.
Oh.
Well, no law is perfect, but
Yeah. They described a scenario in which a retailer might raise prices across the board to lower prices for some targeted customers.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So but you know what? Every law is a beginning and can be improved upon.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like the right to repair stuff from like it's the first state law happens, it's not perfect, but then other states start crafting. So it's like I think it's the fact that we have legislation on the books now, imperfect as it may be, is probably the biggest headline coming out of this.
Gotta set the precedent and work from there. Yeah.
One of the things we got a lot of us talk about was, of course, Mythos, the Claude model that wasn't released to the public because it was too dangerous because it could find security flaws and they didn't want bad guys to be able to do it first. Of course, OpenAI, which at first said that's just a marketing ploy, then about 2 weeks later released its version of the same thing, saying it can find security flaws and it's very dangerous. In fact, we are starting to see some security flaws discovered. There is a very severe Linux flaw. The most, Ars Technica called it the most severe Linux threat to surface in years, but fear not, somebody would have to have physical access to your computer. They'd have to have an account on your system to use it, but it does allow them to escalate a normal user account to a administrator account to a super user account. It's called copy fail. And it's an issue on servers where there are multiple users because VPS, many people are using the same computer. They probably could use that.
This is how you know Linux is succeeding now, guys. Like it's made it. Yeah. It's made it. We've had a massive flaw. This is your popularity.
It's a very serious one, and also is an escape from containers. So Docker and Kubernetes can get right out of that. So it is a pretty serious vulnerability. Oof. Most Linux distros have been patched by now. It was disclosed more than a month ago, but the typical lengthy disclosure process did not happen. It was only discovered about a month ago and it is now completely disclosed. So make sure you have a patched Linux kernel. And there's a big flaw in cPanel, which a lot of people use to administer their websites. It's kind of an old school thing. It was written in PHP. I used to use it years ago. But hackers are actively exploiting a bug in cPanel, which is currently used still by millions of websites and the web host manager site, which allows hackers to hijack and take full control of a server running cPanel, still being used by tens of millions of websites all over the world. So something that will have to be fixed. All right, now a couple of weird stories. We're running out of time here. The hottest anti-AI gadget. All the kids are doing it. It's on TikTok. I haven't seen it, but young women are going viral for creating whimsical homemade computers inside purses.
I love it.
I just had a friend ask me the other day if I would help her make her cyber deck.
Why would you? So the idea is it's real. It's cyberpunk. But is it a working system? I mean, is it?
Yeah, and I think it's this idea that we can step away from our phones and like modernity and just get access to the things that we want. But there's also some level of like customization and building it when you feel like everything all looks the same. There's a lot of
steampunky, a little bit.
Yeah, and a lot of aesthetics involved. You know what I mean? It's about making it your own and because that's the whole idea too. Is it's almost like a Swiss Army knife, but in the form of a little machine. Yeah. And so you just make it however you want to. You put the stuff on there that you want. And I think it's also an opportunity to get people who may otherwise not have gotten into like coding and tinkering to get into coding and tinkering, which I think is neat.
I use an ESP32 to communicate with my Claude agent. I could put that in a purse.
What's cool is that this is kind of like the exact opposite of the OpenClaw trend in a way too. It's more like this is a thing I'm building. It's gonna do what I tell it to do. It's a thing I'm building for my purposes and my needs. It's not gonna run off with my credit card number and like make all these transactions. It is a really cool response to the trend of tech right now.
Did you see that Vine is back?
No.
Jack Dorsey, who of course ran Twitter and bought Vine and killed Vine, has a new reboot. It's called Divine, D-I Vine.
Too late.
It is on the iOS App Store and the Google Play Store. Huh. And I love this. They put 500,000, 500,000 old Vine videos on there to see it. So the archive of old Vine, the backup from the original service, is there. They are still 6 seconds long. I mean, They're awfully short compared to Reels or TikToks.
It's a little pathetic, isn't it? It's just like, oh, we had this thing that was kind of cool and culty, and look, your old vines are here. I killed it, by the way, but don't worry about that. Your old vines are here. Let's make some new ones.
Created by a guy we've interviewed. His handle is Rabble, Evan Henshaw Plath, who used to work at Twitter. He was an early Twitter employee. He explored the Vine archive. I didn't realize this, but the original Vines, 6 seconds, were 50 to 60 gigabytes.
What? Wait, the whole thing? Or
no wonder. No.
Each one?
Yes.
Were they storing them in some ridiculous... I don't understand.
Well, no wonder they went out of business.
Yeah. If you can't store a 6-second video properly, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. Anyway, he has managed to resurrect some, but not all of them. It's been around since November to testers. Rabble said the initial plan was to quickly push the app out after some initial tests, but early Viners encouraged the team to hold off. It was the Viners who were like, no, this is way more important than just nostalgia. They really wanted a Vine that worked, that they could create new Vines with. So, yay, Rabble has recreated Vine.
I love that they've got older Vines just because that did establish some of the early, I don't know, global pop culture lexicon. That
remember Lily Pons? Lily Pons, an OG Viner, quoted by TechCrunch. Many of us came from Vine. It was the beginning of anything.
Yeah.
It was such a key moment in my own personal journey and an internet culture. It makes me so happy to see these early classics brought back to life and have the chance to make new ones. It was amazing what they did in a 6-second video.
I agree.
Well, it's amazing what the audience did. Like, that's such an organic response to the limitations of technology. Like, that's cool. Yeah. And then they killed it. And I, to a certain degree, I'm like, you guys had something really interesting there. And I don't know, is it because the business model just didn't work well enough for Twitter? You couldn't make money off of it?
I think Twitter felt like, I don't know, that this was undermining Twitter. Like, oh no, it should all just be on Twitter.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why they bought it in that case. Maybe they bought it to kill it. I don't know. Anyway, Dorsey put up the money. Rabble brought it back. So bravo.
That's cool.
Now, speaking of being brought back, remember GameStop, which was about to go out of business, but was saved by the stonk Redditors as a meme stock? They've done so well ever since. They're looking at buying eBay.
No.
What? So maybe they weren't so dumb, all those diamond hands holding their GameStop stock.
What? That's wild.
Yes.
It's because money means nothing.
It's because money is imaginary.
Nothing means anything. So whatever. Sure, you're dying and the meme brought you back to life.
According to the Wall Street Journal, GameStop is preparing a bid to acquire eBay for $46 billion. That's what eBay's worth. GameStop's stock price is about $12 billion. So I don't know. They'd have to have some investors. I don't know. GameStop has been quietly building a position in eBay shares.
I guess people sell a lot of games on eBay. I'm trying to think if this is just because of the lulls or if there's actually some real.
Well, the guy behind it, actually, Ryan Cohen, who's the CEO, has some cred. He created Chewy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Sold it in 2017, became GameStop's chairman and CEO. And based, I guess, on this whole meme stock thing, was able to not only turn GameStop around, but turn it into an e-commerce giant.
And this, Leo, this is real now. This is not just reporting. Cohen gave an interview. He gave an interview to the Journal about 30 minutes ago. It's 56 billion.
56 billion.
50. I put it in the little chat there for you to...
Holy cow.
It's happening.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Or whatever, man.
I don't know what's going on.
This definitely wasn't on my bingo card, is all.
I just don't understand anything.
That really actually does blow my mind.
I know. The Academy has finally taken a step against AI. They have decided that the new Oscar rules, which released Friday, will not allow AI-generated actors or scripts to be eligible for Oscars. So, huzzah.
How will they prove it?
Oh, that's interesting.
It's pretty.
There is already...
You cannot sneak an AI person into a thing.
Tilly Norwood, who's all AI, is clearly out, but there is an AI generated version of Val Kilmer in a new movie.
Yeah. But you said scripts too. I'm talking about scripts, not the actor part. I know
AI generated actors and scripts.
Yeah. So how are they going to prove the scripts part? That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like,
I see.
What if some
Well,
writer,
if the actor's dead, it's probably AI. If he shows up in a movie,
yeah, that part is easy to prove.
I'm thinking.
But the script, so they're going to have to use an Academy issued laptop that does not allow access to ChatGPT.
I think this is the old guard holding out, right? Trying to preserve.
Is it Honor? It's the Honor system, isn't it?
I mean, there are enough AI scanning things which don't work that well, but
yeah, they don't.
They're terrible.
They're the worst.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
And just in case you thought your youth was wasted, Nicholas.
Well,
the Ukraine says that it's training drone pilots by playing Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, I saw this. Yes. If Hegzeth is watching, I'm available.
Are you a master of GTA?
I am very good at video games. I would be happy.
My son says, I want to buy an Audi R8. I said, dude, no, you can't have one. He says, your fault. You gave me Grand Theft Auto, and that was my car in GTA. So it's your fault. I said, I didn't give you Grand Theft Auto. What are you talking about?
Grand Theft Auto?
What? I would never have given you that. Ukraine's defense ministry shared a post on X showing off training, asking, are there any GTA fans here? They said it's also good for relaxation.
Okay, hold on. Now you're trying to say work while you're off the clock, and I don't like that. It's like, it's fine. It's also for relaxation.
They train their skill. Oh, they just blew that truck up.
Yeah, I saw.
Do you have drones in GTA? I don't think you do, or maybe they've added them.
I have not really played 5, so I can't even answer that question. I don't like 5 very much.
Maybe they use similar controllers.
This feels very Ender's Game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Ender's Game. Yeah. That he was. Oh, I don't want to spoil it. Never mind. I won't say a word.
Don't spoil the ending of
Got one of the best twists ever. I'll just say that it's a great novel.
That was the first time I knew how to be disappointed by authors. Amazing stuff.
Oh,
because Orson Scott Card was not a great person.
He's the madman,
but it's a great writer. Although
that book is good.
Ender's Game was great. The sequel's not so hot.
I love Speaker for the Dead
was pretty good. All right, you're right.
But yeah. Again, I've read his stuff and got so disappointed. Yeah,
I know.
Yep.
Let's take one more break, and then we have our usual in memoriam thing. And I'm going to do some picks. I have a pick, and Nick actually has a pick, and Devendra has a pick. So,
great. Well, great.
Well,
they
didn't
find a pick.
We don't normally do picks on Twit, but it just happened. You guys submitted some things that could be picks. So think of something, Micah, and we'll be back in just a bit. This episode of This Week in Tech is brought to you by Box. I love Box, the leading intelligent content management platform for enterprises. The key to unlocking the power of AI isn't in an LLM or an agent. It's in your content. Your business isn't the sum of internet knowledge. Your business lives in your content, right? And now AI is not some far-off idea anymore. It's here. It's tangible. Dynamic innovation, absolutely here to stay. Already having a profound impact on the world. I don't have to tell you that. Well, Box is here to help. Their mission to power how the world works together, making it easy to access information from anywhere, collaborate with anyone. Box serves more than, get this, 97,000 companies, 68% of the Fortune 50. Many companies underestimate AI's transformative potential. Rather than reimagining their operations, they're simply bolting AI onto existing processes, capturing modest productivity gains while missing the opportunity for fundamental business transformation. I'm a big advocate for doing it right. Becoming an AI-first company, it's not just about automating what you already do. It's about reimagining what's possible. With Box AI, business can truly leverage the latest breakthroughs in AI to automate document processing and workflows, to extract insights from your content, to build custom AI agents, to work on assignments, and more. Most importantly, Box AI works with all the leading AI model providers. So you get the one you want. OpenAI, you bet. Anthropic, yep. Google, sure. XAI, absolutely. And that's not all. More. So you can always be sure you're able to use the latest AI models with your content. Here are just some of the things businesses are doing right now with Box AI. You can use Box AI to extract key metadata fields from contracts, invoices, financial documents, resumes, and more. You know how hard that is to do manually? AI does it like that. And then you can query and automate workflows as a result. Okay, that's one. Well, here's another one. Use Box AI to ask questions of any type of content. It's like asking the content directly, sales presentations, long research reports, and more. Why spend hours reading through hundreds of pages? Just query it directly. You can do it for one file or, and this is huge, thousands of files at once. Or leverage Box AI's APIs to integrate it into your application stack for any document processing and data extraction. Box AI handles the vector embeddings, the retrieval augmented generation RAG, and agent customization, and it does it all in its own platform. You can do all of this while maintaining the highest levels of security, compliance, and data governance that over 115,000 enterprises trust. You need a content layer that gives AI the context it needs while giving your teams the flexibility they need to test and leverage various models for different use cases. Don't get locked into a single model. Visit box.com/AI to learn more. Box, BOX.com/AI, box.com/AI. This is a very cool solution. Thank you, Box, for supporting Twit. And now back to the show.
All right, Micah, you don't have to do a pick, but I'm going to just give us a couple of picks. I'll start off. You may remember in February, the CIA killed the World Factbook, which was an amazing thing. The CIA had been created 62 years ago and had been maintaining ever since information about all the countries of the world. It was like, I guess, kind of felt a little weird that it was the CIA doing it, but it was an incredible resource. Well, this is a really nice story because the open source community jumped on this. Now, at the same time as the CIA announced the killing of the fact book, they deleted it. They could have left it up, but I guess they didn't want it to get out of date. Anyway, fortunately, somebody had saved it. Open Fact Book is online. It's free, openfactbook.org, 254 countries. Yeah. Isn't that great? And
That's
you can browse
great.
by region. This has always been a really great resource for just basic information. And it's a great example of, like Wikipedia, where the community itself can preserve this stuff. So I just wanted to give them a little bit of a plug. Nicholas De Leon picked something that was actually reviewed by your colleague on Consumer Reports. We were talking about this before the show. Courtney Lindwall wrote about it. Tell us about the Light Phone.
Yeah, so we, mostly Courtney, have been doing a lot of articles on digital mindfulness or whatever you want to call it. Just the idea of like where a lot of us are kind of tired of being ruled by our iPhones and Androids and just wanting to tone it down a little bit. So the latest article in this series is about the Light Phone, which is kind of a stripped down, I guess it's technically a smartphone, but it's not an iPhone, and it's purposefully not an iPhone. And it's, in that constraint, does your brain have the opportunity to breathe again for the first time in a while? And so it's just a look at like some of the limitations of these types of devices, where they're good, where they're bad, who they might be good for, who maybe wouldn't want it. But to me, it's interesting is that there's a lot of this. I live in Southern Arizona. Every single resort around here has like a digital detox program that you can
Really?
take. So yeah. So there's something in the ether here where people are kind of like maybe not burnt out, but they just want to tweak their relationship with their phone in particular, which is what I was saying earlier, where it's like the idea of the computer in the living room was like the peak experience here, because now we're glued to our phones 24/7. So yeah, it's just the latest article in that series, and I encourage folks to take a look. And there will likely be more on this topic. Just the idea of like maybe reevaluating our relationship with the phone in particular.
It's a little pricey, $700. Doesn't have a great camera. But I like the idea of a very simple black and white UI. I think the phones changed dramatically. First of all, for most of us, it's not a phone anymore.
Yeah.
No,
right?
I mean,
What is the phone for? It's mostly
it's
a camera.
Truest PC
spam
in a way too.
It's spam. That's for sure.
All the spam.
I guess for me, camera and messaging are the two things I use the most on the phone.
Barely even use the camera.
One thing I tell folks, again, when I'm like the computer guy and family and whatever, it's like, get a camera, get an actual camera from Nikon or Canon or whatever. You don't even have to get like a $5,000. Just get a camera and it's going to take much better photos than any phone. And you have a single purpose device that unlocks a little bit of creativity, and you might start messing with lenses, but it lessens the reliance on the phone for everything, and you get to explore a different part of your brain, I guess. But yeah, that's if you can afford it, I would encourage folks maybe look into buying a camera and seeing if that will lessen your desire to have your phone on your person 24/7.
But can I send messages from my camera?
Oh, now you've got a phone.
I guess.
I don't know. Is it practical to say we don't need whatever these smart devices are that we carry in our pocket?
I mean, this is a certain type of person. I think they've got their hand on their head. It's like, the phone is a critical piece of infrastructure for, I would say everyone, basically. I was actually on TV the other day having this exact conversation. It's like, isn't it a little bit, maybe not privileged, but like phones are important. People need phones. It's not it's not an optional, it's not a Steam Deck or whatever the case may be. People need phones. So all this like,
you're saying a Steam Deck is optional or not optional? I just want to know.
That depends on
asking for a friend.
Depends on you. Yeah.
Nicholas, this is again now that conversation where you were saying that this is a possibility for someone. You are not saying that because I am talking about a light phone, that means the people who have phones that are not light phones are bad and wrong. Like that. Why is that nuance always lost? It's like, just because I'm advocating for a thing does not mean that the thing I'm not advocating for is a bad thing.
We should have more things like this that just help us simplify our relationship with our phones. But I also say it's so easy to like forget, like, my God, what do we have in our pockets? Like, this is, I think about personal computing quite a bit.
Yes.
This is the truest personal computer. Yes. It is on us. It is a part of us. It's an extension of us. The problem is we've allowed these companies to like create these apps and services that just like tap into the worst human tendencies, right? Like the effects of social media, the infinite scroll, you get the like constant dopamine hits. All these things are built this way. So one good thing you could do if you don't want to get a light phone is just like try to stay off of those things that really tap into those primal like attention span, I don't know, hoarding things that we have as humans. But I do so much with my phone. I take notes.
It's my main computer now.
Yeah.
And I use Telegram to message Claude, so we can talk. Yeah.
I think it's a little bit like what Micah was saying earlier in the show. It's kind of a reflection of like who you are and what if you're using the phone to check out Open Factbook or Project Gutenberg or whatever the case may be, or Wikipedia. That is a very different use case than someone who's just infinite scrolling TikTok.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't do that. Don't get in bed and
TikTok.
No, but don't get in bed and scroll for 2 hours. That's not healthy.
It's a lot of folks, and to Devendra's point, that because they're designed to do that,
they are made to do that. I don't blame the users as much as
it's a dopamine
how we built these things.
Machine.
I do that myself, and I am actively trying. Like, okay, I'm going to keep books near my nightstand. So I hit 10 minutes of TikTok. Okay, then go away, phone. I'll try to do something else, and it's a forceful thing. You have to really take an effort to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a pick, but Devendra put a link to Jessica Condit's review. She does a great job, by the way.
Love
Jessica's stuff. In Engadget about the Valve Steam controller.
Yeah, this was the hottest new gadget of the week because we've been waiting for the Steam machine to arrive, and it's not
this is for the Steam machine.
This is for the Steam machine or anything running Steam. Like, this was part of the Steam machine announcement, but the problem is the Ramageddon has made it really tough for Valve to price or even get the Steam machine out. And also the Valve Frame, the new VR headset that they're doing too, that needs RAM. The Steam machine needs RAM. This controller does not need the RAM, so they can just release this controller.
So they released the controller before they released
all hungry for
you can play,
anything.
You can still play your PC games. Anything that runs Steam. So your Steam Deck, your
Is it a
PC.
great? She gave it 90 out of 100.
She gave it a 90. She gave it a good review.
It's a little pricey. It's $100 controller.
Do you know how expensive controllers are now, Leo?
Is that not
the
a normal?
Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller is $90. New Joy-Con 2s are $80. The new
It's basically a car. What's in there? It's got so much different technology inside.
It's just they're expensive. So this is more expensive than a typical one. But I will say, as somebody who plays a lot of games on my PC, it looks cool. I kind of want to play with it. I will be getting a Steam machine eventually too, even though I probably don't need one. But it just looks like a cool design, and I think Jess also did a great review. Also recommend people check out the new Engadget website. We've been redesigned now that we're fully over at our new owners. So it's lightning fast now, lightning.
Nice. You know what? This popped right up. Holy
It's
cow.
instant. It's amazing. So we are no longer part of Yahoo. We're part of Static Media, which also owns BGR and Slash Film. And
whoa, that did load fast.
It's so fast.
It's
I will
really
say
fast.
people are complaining it's not like list format anymore.
I like this format. This is kind of a card-based format.
Yeah, it's card-based. I know people miss the list format, but I like that it's fast. It's so fast. So we're getting there. We just launched the new site. We're part of a whole new company now, but we're still in Gadget and we're still doing our thing.
Good.
I would say, Devendra, you should forget the Steam machine. Make your own Steam machine. Make like a DIY Steam machine, which is I did that between Christmas and then nowish.
Is it running Linux?
Yes, it's actually running Bazite, which is basically Steam OS.
Bazite's a gaming Linux.
And I will buy this controller literally at 10 a.m. tomorrow when it goes on sale. And I'm really looking. It's the most excited I've been for a gadget in a little while, actually.
Oh, cool. So tell me,
that's good advice. Yeah.
What processor you would use if you were going to build your own Steam machine? How much RAM? What graphics?
It's a bad time to build things.
It seems like it might be.
Yeah,
I built it more or less last year, a little bit right as the RAM stuff was hitting. So I had a leftover 7800 X3D processor because I upgraded my main gaming PC to the 9800. So I reused an old processor. I did buy the Radeon 9060 XT, which is their entry level.
Yeah,
it's a secondary. It's for older games. It's for emulator. I'm not trying to play Cyberpunk or super brand new games on this thing. I have the main PC for that. So it's just RAM. I don't know. I would say 16 is the minimum, but it's just very expensive right now. Unfortunately,
everything is.
I'm actually glad I bought the Framework desktop when I did it. I bought it as an local AI machine, but it's actually a pretty competent gaming machine as well.
Using old hardware is a good idea. A lot of people have old RAM, old stuff hanging around.
Yeah, reuse it.
Build something.
I would not have built this if I didn't have leftover stuff to do, because it's I already have a computer. Oh, but I can kind of crib together this one of parts, kind of like the MacBook Neo. Hey, I got these parts over here. Let me just build a thing.
And Micah, you picked something.
I did, yes. So I love voices, and I love listening to voices and sort of trying to understand them. And so I really love hearing voice actors talk about their craft and share their craft. And occasionally you get something like what I shared, which is a YouTube video that is actually just it's a little clip from a podcast. The podcast is called String and Tell by Tawny Plattis. And Tawny is a voice actor that has done a lot of work that you'll be familiar with. She is the voice of those automated grocery machine things that you go through, like self-checkouts. Her voice is the one that annoyingly tells you, please put that back down onto the counter. And so you hear her talk and you're already
probably a really small fraternity, isn't it, of people?
Right? Yeah. And then Kristen Mercurio, meets with her for this episode because these two are responsible for almost all of the Bluetooth voice. No matter what device you get, unless it's a first party, mainstream device, that you're going to hold down that power button for 3 seconds and then it's going to go Bluetooth pairing. And that's the voice of the woman.
It's a human.
It's a human. That's her right there. Bluetooth. I just called her Bluetooth. No, Kristen Mercurio is the voice. And so
you think she gets recognized at grocery stores?
I wonder if she talks enough. I just love it. I love it. And they talk about their craft and they talk about both with like how they got hired doing different stuff. The reason why Kristen ends up got this role is because her voice by different casting agents is tagged with IoT. So she gets a lot of those kinds of gigs.
Oh, interesting.
And, yeah, I just think it's fascinating. So yeah.
Very good. We don't usually do picks, but it just kind of came up that way. So I thought, why not? Let's do some picks. We also often end the show with in memoriam. And there are three things that are going away. One is Spirit Airlines. And I'm sorry if you had a ticket on Spirit Airlines because it is shut. It's gone. It just, boom, it disappeared. I'm sorry if you had a ticket on Spirit Airlines at any time. It was horrible airline. It was
literal like beach chairs.
Yeah, when so close together. I'm not that tall, and my knees are still up here. Just not fun. The one time I flew Spirit, I did feel bad. There was a Spirit pilot, who had one more flight to retirement, and his flight was canceled. His flight was canceled. I guess that's that. But I also feel bad there are probably quite a few people with tickets who aren't going to get to go anywhere. Also, say goodbye to Ask Jeeves. Did you know ask.com was still around?
Did not know it was still
Apparently
around.
Nobody did. So they finally gave up. They're shutting it down. This is the story from Engadget. Which was Ask Jeeves, remember the butler, and they changed it to ask.com. The internet's favorite butler is saying goodbye. It closed. He closed his serving tray on May 1st.
I remember when at school they taught us. We had a whole day where we went to the library and we were taught about like LexisNexis and all of these other tools. But then the old tools for searching things. But then they also taught us about new tools for searching things. And one of those was at the time Ask Jeeves. Mm-hmm. And I remember coming home and bringing this news to my family and teaching them how to use Ask Jeeves. And at the time saying with my whole chest, going, listen, you'll get better results if you type it out as a question, which now I'm like, what was I thinking? That's hilarious.
But no, you were right. That's how we started asking internet questions.
Right? Yeah, you did a full question. And then now you see sometimes people still feel like you have to do that. And so it's one of those things where I'm going, do I just let them live in the world where they type a whole question into?
You don't type questions
I do it by keyword. I think of the question that I have, and then into the search field, I type the keywords from it.
You're probably smart. Yeah.
Because it doesn't need of. That's not a word that of. I mean, and yes, if you're doing Boolean, but anyway, point is, yeah, you type out like a full sentence to get an answer, and now you do that if you're using one of your chat.
It was too early. Ask Jeeves. Yeah.
Well,
before it's time.
I see, you're not going to say flight speed swallow. You're going to say what is the flight speed of a swallow, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
I would type in flight speed swallow. Honestly, I would.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You're very parsimonious with your words, I guess.
Indubitably.
And there is one actual passing, and it's Craig Venter, who was a big name in the race to decode the human genome. He was kind of I would say a maverick in all of this. He said, we don't need to use these slow processes. I can decode the human genome faster with shotgun sequencing. And in fact, won. His company Celera went up against an international consortium of researchers called the Human Genome Project. And in fact, I guess technically it was a draw, but the fact that he came even close was pretty amazing. An interesting fellow, a force of nature, somewhat controversial in many ways. He led an effort to explore the world's oceans, trace the genetics of marine microbial communities. His first global ocean sampling expedition circumnavigated the globe in 2005 and 2006. He also tried to copyright or trademark or patent, I think it was maybe patent, genes, the genome.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
That's one of the reasons he was controversial is, he thought this could be.
You were so close to true greatness, man.
Yeah, so close. Anyway, Craig Ventnor passed away April 29th at the age of 79. But Craig Ventnor lived a very rich life, got a lot done in his 79 years. That is that for this week, our Twit episode. Thank you so much, Micah Sargent.
So great to be here.
Being here to backstop in case everything went to hell in Hawaii. But it's always great to get you on.
I'm glad it didn't go to hell, and I'm glad I got to join.
I could be here. Yeah. You'll find Mike on Tech News Weekly every Thursday, and of course iOS Today. You record like every other week now?
Yeah, we record iOS every other week. We just recorded 3 of the episodes of Hands on Tech earlier this morning.
Oh yeah, Hands on Tech. Yes.
Yeah, we'll also record those later. Hands on Apple, I record that weekly. So lots of shows you can check out on the network.
Best way to check them out: join the club. Support independent podcasting. It is a real challenge in this world where big companies run podcasting and advertisers, flock to the big companies instead of us. But the best way to stay afloat in this world is to call on our wonderful community to support us. And we have a great many people who support Club Twit. We'd like to have you in the club. $10 a month gets you ad-free versions of all the shows. You get to watch Micah do his shows in the Discord. And lots of other special content. We've got some big ones coming up. The Google I/O and WWDC keynotes are coming up. We do those in the club only because we don't want to get taken down on YouTube. So join the club. It's a way to support what we do, and it's a way to get a lot of extra programming and to meet some really cool people in the Club Twit Discord, including Mr. Micah Sargent. Micah's creative, what do you call it? I forgot.
Micah's Crafting Corner.
Crafting Corner. It's always fun. Are you still doing paint by numbers, or have you moved on?
Now I'm trying to remember. What did we do last time? Because I took a break from paint by number.
It's very relaxing, so I understand.
It was incredibly relaxing. It was also hard because part of it is engaging with the chat room. They are sharing the things they're working on as well. So it's just a nice little crafting moment where people talk about the foods that they're making. And I literally do not recall what it was I worked on last time. Somebody in the chat will remember. But anyway, yeah, we do all sorts of things: knit, crochet, Lego, little dioramas, all sorts of stuff. A lot of fun.
Did I just close my Zoom, or am I still here?
You're still here.
I was closing tabs. Okay, kids, don't try this at home. Never close tabs. Keep them all open.
All of them.
All of them. Nicholas De Leon is, of course, at Consumer Reports, where he reports on electronics, senior electronics reporter, and has many, many AI pages up there, like Crosswording the Situation.
Yes.
And what is it? What are the other two?
Deep Dugout, Tucson Daily Brief. I'm trying to think of the best way to.
You have others too?
I have other things. Those are the main ones. Oh, I also made a job, like a job finder app. It's actually quite powerful. We'll talk about that another day. Huh. But yeah,
maybe you need a site for all your sites so that we can go to that site and find your sites.
I mean, most of these they will just put it up on GitHub whether you want it to or not.
Yes, yeah. Most of them are on GitHub. I think
What's your GitHub handle?
De Leon, D-A-Y. I'll just type it in the chat here. D-A-Y-L-A-Y-O-W-N. That's just my last name pronounced. De Leon. And if you go to deleon.org, that's probably the easiest because I list most of the things I've got going on over there.
There you go. Yeah.
So a bunch of cool stuff. Most importantly, Consumer Reports. I know folks
do support. I'm a member since 1981. I'm very proud to support it.
We are media is a challenging industry, but we're still kicking. We're still doing pretty well, and we're trying to do impactful stuff, like we saw with the grocery store pricing. Some of this AI stuff. We're really trying to report on this stuff in a way that's relatable to, I'm a nerd. I like messing with all the models and all that type of stuff. But, if you're a regular person, how are you interfacing with these things? What are your expectations? So we're trying to do more of that type of stuff. But yeah, Consumer Reports is the most important. And then you can look at my zany little side projects.
I love them. They're not zany. They're great. It's great to talk to you, Nicholas. And of course, thank you, Devendra, dear friend. And now hanging by a thread, I'm sorry to say.
I'm surprised we all aren't at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of hanging by a
thread. When I looked, I said, oh, wow, there really is only one thread up there. Oh, dear.
The sword of Damocles is hanging by. So, Nick, you'll find Devendra at Gadget, brand new Gadget, looking good, and
revamped Engadget, and the Filmcast podcast. Yeah,
thank you, Devendra. Appreciate your support as
happy
always.
To be here.
Thanks to all of you for watching, for listening. Thanks to our club members for making this possible, and I hope you will be back next week. We do Twit every Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. Pacific, 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern. Turns out that's 11 a.m. Hawaii time. I found out. 2100 UTC. If you can figure that out, you can figure out what it will be in your local time zone. You can watch us live in the Club Twit Discord or on YouTube, twitch.tv, x.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, or kick.com. After the fact, on-demand versions of all of our shows, audio and video, available at our website, twit.tv. Most of our shows have their own dedicated YouTube channel. Twit is no exception. You can find us there. Great way to share clips of the show if you want to tell your friends and family about something exciting you saw on the show. And of course, the best thing to do is subscribe in your favorite podcast client. That way you'll get it automatically as soon as we're done. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I will be in Hawaii for another few days. I'm going to be doing Mac Break Weekly and the Security Now and Windows Weekly and Intelligent Machines from here, and next week's Twitter as well. So if you hate the fact that there's the ocean and the trade winds behind me, well, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to put up with that for a little bit longer. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you. Thank you to our great technical director, Benito Gonzalez, for keeping everything together. Anthony Nielsen for helping me get the technology down to do this show from here. And of course, Kevin King, our editor, our executive producer, my wife, Lisa Laporte, who is right now in a helicopter. I think she just went over, as a matter of fact, flying over the big island of Hawaii.
Are you going to get to do a helicopter?
No, I don't believe in flying in rocks with wings. It feels dangerous somehow. She does it every time, and I always say, "Good, have fun." Yeah. They're terrifying. And they're very loud, but it is really cool. I mean, I did it once, and that
once was enough.
I've done it. Yeah, once was enough. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time. Another Twit is in the can. Bye-bye.
Amazing.